You got to breathe, because if you don't, then we don't make it. My heart was racing. I didn't know if you were. I was like, my friend's about to die, and then we get there. I think it's easier to define bad than it is good.
This is Blake Moore. He's my good buddy from high school. We've done a lot of shenanigans together. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, just a student, going to a school in the other city right next to you, University of Idaho. Just kind of have known you for 7 years?
Something like that.
Since 9th grade or 10th grade. Which grade was it? When did we meet?
It would have been 10th, I think.
It was at
sophomore year.
The lunch table.
Freshman year, I went through it with no friends whatsoever.
So it was the lunch table 10th grade.
Yeah.
Because
I think it was either Alex or Harrison brought me over there.
Yeah.
And then you and Braden were there.
Because, it was
sit down
me,
with these weird goobers.
Me, Braden, and Max knew each other.
Was Max there to begin with?
Yeah. Do you remember the whole cheese thing?
Which one?
Me and Alex, you know how gross that school cheese was?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So me and Alex would take it off and throw it at Max.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Just because, and then...
When did Carson show up?
Oh, my. I think he was just in, for sure, 10th grade. Because me, Carson, and Alex had biology.
Okay,
with
yeah.
Braden and Harry.
Okay, that'd be fun.
And me, Alex, and Carson did something called the Youth Water Summit. That's where we got second. I think we got second, or we might have got third. Do you remember that whole...
The algae thing?
Yeah. And then it had a whole competition. We had to go to that NIC.
You guys grew algae, right?
Yeah.
In a jar or a few of them?
You guys. Alex did everything.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Me and Carson kind of just
I didn't know Carson was even a part of it. I thought it was you, Braden, and Alex.
No, see, Braden and Harry teamed up with somebody. And they did a dam to protect fish or something out of a bucket. So you can see the dam. And then...
That sounds maybe that would be way harder. What's easier? I feel like just growing algae isn't that difficult.
So I think the reason we did so well is the point of it wasn't to do the hardest thing possible. I mean, we were 15-year-olds. I think the point of it was to show an actual impact of something going on, biology related. And we did that with fertilizer and algae. Show the difference, because that's what Alex and all of us were testing, were how fertilizers affected algae growth, because they noticed different algae growth. For example, I think we did Fernand Lake. We did a couple different lakes.
Fernand has a bad algae problem.
So we were
It is a problem, right? How does that affect the fishies?
I forgot. I used to know that.
Okay, yeah, cool.
I did I helped carry on the talking aspect when we had to talk to the judges.
Yeah, well, you're good at that.
That's where my expertise helped. But I don't know anymore. I'm pretty sure it was pretty negative, though.
Based off of a random YouTube video I watched, I know that algae produces a lot of oxygen. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, I think that's just plants in general, though, right?
No, it produces more oxygen than most plants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This guy was trying to figure out how, if he was in a completely airtight room just with a plant, would he be able to survive? And he needed many, many, many gallons,
of algae?
I don't remember, of algae. Algae-filled barrels with, light going through the middle of them, and the air being pumped through the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It was insane project that he developed, I guess. I don't know. It was kind of cool.
How long was he trapped in the room?
Well, he would just walk out and walk back in kind of thing.
I thought he sat in a Mr. Beast video where he'd sit in there for a week and see.
No, he would go in. He had a little carbon dioxide measurement tool.
Oh.
And then, he'd be measuring the rate that it's dropping or lower or higher. And basically how long, just through math, then he was able to dictate how long he'd be able to survive. And then so he kept upgrading the plants until he found out that algae is the best one.
Huh.
And he filled up multiple gigantic 10-gallon barrels with algae. Took him months to make the video as he waits for his algae to grow. Because he started out with just a little water bottle of algae.
Yeah.
And then he just, he'd pour it into each different vat of liquid, I guess, and slowly make it bigger and bigger.
Just imagine like talking to that guy and she's like, oh, so, I just got done playing golf. What'd you do? So I have a room in my house where there's about 40 gallons of algae and I was seeing the carbon dioxide in that room. That'd be a pretty good conversation to have.
Yeah.
Huh. Just on YouTube you found that?
Just on YouTube. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah. And he was not a 15-year-old, so he knew what he was doing a little more.
He probably used like the right, because I know there's different types of algae. I hated biology.
What's the craziest thing you do in a frat? I think we just went to Buffalo Wild Wings for context. I was asking you, what do you even do in a frat?
Yeah.
Like, what are the fun things you've done? I guess how secretive is it?
Oh, it's not, there's aspects that are really secretive.
Okay.
But most of it's just like dudes being dudes.
Yeah. Well, I know because based off movies and stuff, that's my only exposure to any of that. And it tends to be crazy.
So the big thing is you got to look at the schools. University of Idaho is a little smaller.
True.
Than like some of your bigger ones.
That's true.
So we have stuff going on. Your question was like the craziest thing?
Yeah. Like you throwing couches off roofs and stuff, or no?
We did. There's this cabin that we stay at up in Sandpoint. You know where Schweitzer is?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about a good 30-minute drive from Schweitzer. It's on that lake. What's that lake called?
Ponderay,
is it? I don't know.
The Sandpoint Lake?
Yeah, I think so.
The giant one that like submarines are tested in?
The huge one, yeah.
Yeah. Ponderay.
Okay. I'd say the most shenanigans go on there.
I feel like I just called Harrison when you guys were up there recently at a cabin.
Maybe. When was that?
A month or 3 ago.
I think, yeah. So they were doing... we also do initiation up there, so that's what they were doing.
Oh, okay, yeah, that yep, I remember.
Those initiation nights usually tend to get up there with the craziness. So the main thing is when it's just the guys, that's when it gets crazy, because when there's other people around, then liabilities come up. So, everybody has to be a little more safe.
People who are outside of the frat, you're saying?
Yeah, outside of the fraternity. Because
I thought initially you meant like if there were ladies around.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Well, that's where most of the risk comes from. Is like something bad happening to a lady. Like
gotcha. That makes sense.
Cannot have that happen.
Yeah. Okay.
So, because not only should you not have that happen, but it's also world ending if something bad happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Your life is ruined.
Yeah. So
all of a sudden it's legal battles and you're on the sex offender list.
Luckily, we don't have to deal with that. We haven't had anything bad. So,
oh my gosh.
Honestly, you hear a lot of stuff. It goes around. It's usually like 5% of fraternity dudes who are as bad as like people say fraternities are.
Gotcha.
For the most part, everyone's a regular dude, and they're just more social.
Yeah, they just want the community aspect of college.
You get community, you get the fun stuff. There's also like tiers. So you got your higher tiers, lower tiers, like fraternity. It kind of brings back that high schoolish. High school, there's more of a tier system of like your popularity. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everyone's just whatever. Like everyone's not too much bad.
How do you treat the freshmen? Is it similar to high school, where they're just treated like the worst thing ever?
Depends on your house. And
okay,
so
gotcha.
Yeah, like some houses, they say they don't. It's called hazing. Have you heard of hazing?
Yeah.
They say they don't, but it sounds like some do, some don't. We do not. No.
Okay.
Of course
okay.
Not. But
of course not.
No. It's for one. When you're trying to grow, the last thing you want to do is torture the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
don't think it's exactly productive.
It's not. There's the funniest thing is you'll meet people who are big fans of it, and they give you every reason on why it's productive, and then there's also like, okay, well, you could still get that outcome without throwing eggs while they're tied in a chair.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there are like good aspects of going through that initiation. There's a bunch of different names for it. Initiation process, new member process, pledge process. Pledge has kind of left the mainstream world as a term because pledge has a bad connotation now.
It does?
Yeah. So like the most you'll ever hear it used is like a pledge class. This is our pledge class.
Wait, why does that have a...
Because it's kind of associated with hazing, like pledges are lower
okay,
than you.
yeah.
A new member is just a member and they're new.
Like you ever make a blood pact?
No.
Okay, yeah, no.
But yeah, everyone has a different process. So like ours is the important thing is to have something where they are doing different things though to build that bond in that class.
The freshmen we're talking about?
Yeah. So every class you want to build a good bond. So that's where some people who love hazing was like, oh, they've been through the dirt, they've been through the mud, they've done this together, they were locked in this place for 24 hours, all this stuff. But there's also ways to do it productively and build that bond. So it's finding that good system. Because, for example, sports, you did cross country.
Yeah.
One thing that will bond people a lot is going through hard shit together.
Absolutely. Especially brothers. Like forming that brotherhood kind of
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
So that's where people say hazing's really good. Is like, hey, you build this.
Well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a line, and it's the main thing is don't get close to the line, because once you get close to the line, then you're hazing.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like that would destroy trust more than build it. Surviving through something that you're both experiencing is what builds trust, rather than hazing somebody where
that's an excellent point that you just said, because you'll see where the lower classmen then hate the upperclassmen in some of these houses. So they did the job with building the bond, but now they built a bond in hatred to the upperclassmen. Yeah. So there's some houses that are able to do it and it works out great, and they say it's the best. Most people say pledging's the best thing they never want to do again. So
wild. Okay.
Most people love it, no matter if it's the good stuff, the bad stuff. But it's just like, there's no reason to do that. It's also like, if you haze, you either get kicked off campus for a few years, maybe entirely. Your HQ gets involved. Lawyers can get involved. Hazing's one of those things that can
because you're not just high schoolers anymore. You're adults.
Yeah, it's like assault. So
yeah, right.
It's not just high school sports.
Do you think people forget that they are adults, kind of thing?
Oh, for sure. Well,
like because it feels like
some of them aren't. So some kids come in 17.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother problem.
It is, I guess. Yeah, that is true. But I mean, all these people, a lot of them were in sports, in Greek life. A lot, I would say probably like 60%.
In Greek life, what do you mean?
So Greek life is all your fraternities and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people that are in fraternities used to play some sort of sport. Mm-hmm. Some don't, but most did. And, you have coaches, you have you've gone through a process similar where it's just like, oh, the upperclassmen, the coaches, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're also looking, if you're, treating them poorly or something, they don't know any better. They truly don't. So it's just like, well, this is what I have to do to join.
Well, you're president now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how was it when you were a freshman? You weren't president right off the bat, were you?
No.
How did that work? How are you president?
What do you mean?
How did you become president? Because you're not a senior. Is it not?
Oh, no. Most of the time, seniors kind of stay out of it. You get to an age where it's just like, you don't want to do it anymore, because it is a lot for a little bit, and then once you get a hard class, because
you mean so like is college easier starting out?
100%.
Yeah.
So going back to the pledge process or the new member process, for example, you have Mondays where you have chapter, or Sundays depending on when the house does it. Sundays or Mondays you have chapter, which is a day you have to do something. Then you have a new member class, which is another thing you have to do that week. And then you, as a new member, could get randomly called to the house 2 or 3 times, a couple times a week. So then that's something else you have to like.
And these are all responsibilities put on you after you join the frat?
As a new member, yeah. And
Gotcha.
then they have different things that they're responsible for. Say it's like philanthropic stuff. Like you have a lot kind of thrown at you that first year because they know it's your lightest class load. Yeah. A lot of times you'll see some people like their worst year is their first year in school academic wise. But it just kind of depends on the house though, because some houses prioritize grades a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, for example, every semester the grades come out and there's a couple that are always at the top and that's what they prioritize. You never really hear anything about bad hazing going on there.
Right, yeah.
Everyone's treated the same.
It's way more academic than it is party.
It's still quite good at,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but in order to party, you got to do the academics, you know, where some houses are
right.
like, oh, it's fine, just do the homework or do it on Sunday when you're hungover and you want to die, you know. So there's a lot of things that go into it. So it is pretty interesting to think about.
Well, like, what are your responsibilities as president? Because you're the top dog then, right?
And the weird way to say it, but I'm a manager for the people who actually do stuff. So my main thing is making sure Harrison, he's our VP of philanthropy.
Okay.
So I'm making sure he is comfortable doing everything he's doing. He's able to do it. And because it is college, some people don't do their stuff. If he doesn't do it in time or something like that, then I'm on the clock. I got to figure out and fix whatever happened.
Dang, okay.
I'm like the fixer guy and the manager.
You're the guy making sure everybody's doing their job.
Yeah, pretty much.
The figurehead?
Yeah.
Are there ever any speeches or anything like that you need to walk around and represent your frat?
Yeah, so for the most part, you have the fratty guys do those. So like, have you met Aiden?
Maybe.
Maybe
in passing.
Think of a skinny frat guy.
Okay, cool. Got him.
You have, so if it's like speeches to the house, that's me. But if it's like we're trying to recruit people and whatnot, I'll be a talker. Because I'm good at talking to them and stuff like that. So I'll be talking to them, blah, blah, blah. But the guys who give the speeches, the intro, they're the frat guys. They look frat. They look the part.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
So that's your generic looking frat dudes. Backwards hat.
Yeah, okay.
Way too short shorts.
Ballin'.
Stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a big manager. It's the word, like I have to talk to HQ, our headquarters. So that's kind of like the most annoying thing.
That's the international thing?
Yeah. I guess we are international. We have a couple around the country, or around the world that aren't in the U.S.
Oh, around the world?
Well, that's international.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I guess what's national?
National, yeah.
Okay.
But I have to talk to them, and that's kind of annoying because sometimes I'll be on a trip and then I get home to like 5 missed calls and I'll be like, oh, what happened? It's like, oh, our finance guy didn't pay something on time. Or like, honestly, we had this one thing where just our check bounced for some reason. Like we have a lot of money in the account. We have a fraternity. We got more than enough money to pay this, like, I think it was like $1,000.
How does the money work?
Yeah, it's a dues system. So like everyone pays per semester.
Oh, wild.
So
what happens if they don't pay and they remember?
Then they're no longer a member.
Oh, there you go.
There is, like, if you're an older guy, you have a little leeway. It's like, all right, you've been here for a few years. Either you don't have to pay as much because you're not even going to come to these things. Because once, like I said, once you get like a senior and whatnot, you're kind of just...
You're on the way out.
Yeah.
You're an old man.
Yeah, there's
washed up.
You'll show up for like some of the suit and tie things, maybe an initiation, a ritual, something like that. But for the most, you're not going to the parties as like, if at all. So since they don't go to as much stuff and they've already shown that they've been there a long time, you know, throw a couple $100 off and stuff like that. But if you don't pay at all, every house is different. Like if it's your very first semester, you don't get much leeway because it's your very first semester. But say it's your second semester, it's like, all right, well, it's summer's around the corner. Pay by the middle of summer so you can start working on paying your next, because you also have another set of dues coming.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's not too bad. You can join some houses that have crazy dues. For the most part, it's reasonable. And plus, most of the people are pretty rich in fraternities and sororities. So their parents just pay for it, so you don't have to worry about it. So it's not too bad, though.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It sounds like you've purposefully tried to develop a culture of positivity, or at least
our first...
Maybe not?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Like positivity, whatever, yeah.
Being productive, all that jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trustworthy.
Trust, respect, accountability.
Integrity.
The three that I always tell the board, just because three pop words gets people thinking.
Oh, yeah.
No, the president before me. Oh, bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How does that... Well, are you guys democratically elected?
Yeah. So...
Do you have a voting process?
Yeah, we give
cool.
speeches.
Nice. So you ran for it?
Yeah, you have to.
Did you want to?
My first time I did. My second time I didn't. But
Oh.
we didn't have anybody that was, what's a good way to put it? We didn't have anybody
that you wanted
ready to do it. Like, we have some younger guys that were definitely capable of doing it, but they weren't knowledgeable enough yet. Like, there's definitely like 2 or 3 guys that I'm going to look at this year because I'm not doing it again. So there's definitely 2 or 3 guys I'm going to look at this year and be like, all right, I'm going to kind of throw hints at them, show them some behind the scenes stuff, get them ready. So when that time comes, those 2 or 3 guys can all run for it and may the best man get it. But it's the main thing once election season comes around is the board that's about to leave needs to make sure the next one's ready. So like right before elections, we had a board meeting or 2 that was like, all right, we got some good guys in these positions that want to run. We don't really have anyone in this position that wants to run at all. Let's see if we can find somebody and stuff like that. So it's democratic, but it's also like, let's hope the right guys run for it.
Right. Because otherwise then everybody potentially can suffer.
Yeah.
I guess. Like if
especially
the
since that first
being responsible,
president,
right?
Yeah.
Living up to those responsibilities, then how does that affect everybody?
Well, for example, our first president, I beat him in the election, and then he went to comms. So usually when you're president, you just kind of leave the board. You don't go to a different position.
What is comms?
So our Instagram, communications, Facebook, all that kind of stuff.
You're running a whole organization.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
That's cool.
But some kind of beef happened. I don't even know, to be honest. Like, it was quite a while ago. But he ended up taking our Instagram passwords and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah, he left the school. He went to WSU, and now from what I know, he's out of WSU. He joined their fraternity over there.
Bro, like backstabbed everybody.
Well, I mean, he felt betrayed.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know.
He was getting vengeance.
I think so. I definitely felt for the guy.
Okay,
he was a little too young to be put in the position that he was. But he also wasn't the best of person. So
and he transferred over to Wazoo, eh?
Yeah, and then
wild. Isn't that the enemy for you guys?
No, sister schools for the most part.
Oh, not rivals?
No. I mean, not even in football because they're in the FBS, which is the highest tier of D1.
Because they're way bigger school, like over twice the size, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Idaho's in the FCS, so we're even lower.
Gotcha. So they don't even play against each other?
Every once in a while, we'll do like a...
like a friendly game?
No, it's not out of conference game. So, for example, this year we're doing Wyoming and Oregon.
Oh.
So, Oregon's one of the national championship contenders, so that's gonna be a game. Cool. And then Wyoming, I don't know too much about them yet because I mean Oregon's our first game, so that's the only one I've kind of looked into.
How much sports commingle between the 2 schools? Because we're right next to each other.
I don't think many.
I know
because they're packed to our. I think they just moved to the same conference, like the same conference as Boise.
I wonder if they used to, because my grandma, when she grew up here,
I think they probably used to.
She was telling me stories how when they would compete, whoever lost then would walk back over the highway.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Let's say they're walking 20-minute miles if they're going somewhat speedy.
It would be they'd be walking home all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, actually.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Like definitely, it's rubbing salt in the wound, that's for sure.
I'm sure they used to have a cool tradition like that where they played every year, but it's just something. Because there's a lot of politics in it, too, with sports nowadays. You can't just be like, oh, let's have this friendly
rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every year and play each other. Well, we're in different conferences.
What politics are in sports?
Money.
Oh.
For example, Oregon's paying us, I think it's public knowledge, a lot of money. I'm not going to say the number.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's public.
Like, just tell me higher or lower. $1,000,000?
Lower, but it's
okay.
A good number.
500,000?
A good number of 6 figures. I'll say that.
Cool. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's public anyway, so you can just look it up. But yeah.
Yeah, don't need to risk it.
So, but then again, Wyoming would pay us less, I'm guessing. I haven't
Wyoming has people?
Yeah, They
Oh.
they have a FBS school, so they're bigger than us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably the one school in Wyoming.
That's fair, yeah, because we have Boise
They only have 500,000 people, I think.
in the entire state.
Yeah. They're the lowest populous state.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So how many people are at their school? I feel like it couldn't be more than...
Well, if it's a big enough state school, they'll have people transfer in.
That's true. I guess so.
And if it's not as active, it'll be a little cheaper. Kind of like how Idaho will get guys from the East. You get guys everywhere. People are just like, they want to come.
So you play multiple sports, right?
I don't play. I just...
Well, golf at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like for your work then, are you managing all of it or is it just the football team?
I like to stay football.
Okay.
I could help with like basketball, Olympics, which is, Olympics, like track and field and all that stuff. But it's just...
Is the javelin throw a thing at the college?
Pretty sure. I know we have discus.
I don't know if that's... I don't remember who was telling me about it, but like Post Falls High School doesn't have the javelin throw anymore because we had our 3 strikes or something like that.
What?
Yeah. You can't do the... I think I'm calling it the right thing. You're throwing a big spear.
Yeah, javelin.
Yeah, okay, cool. Supposedly every single high school, a law was put in place. You have 3 strikes before it's just outlawed. And then the 3 strikes are like if somebody gets stabbed by it and dies. And I think Post Falls High School has gotten their 3 strikes, so we didn't have it. So I don't know if that's a real thing or not.
I'm pretty sure we have. I mean, we have discus. The thing is, I only really see what happens in the Kibbie Dome, and you can't really throw a giant spear.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So I'm sure we have it. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. I don't know if that same rule applies for colleges or not. Because high school, it's children. So it feels like
it probably doesn't
laws
because
to like protect would be way more, I don't know, way more put in place, if you will.
At the collegiate level, I just don't see that happening. So even if there was a law, I doubt it would happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
But yeah, I try to just stick to football. I like football the most. I'll do a little bit in like basketball, just going over there. But
I know so little of football. I was what?
You know about as much as Harry, and when Harry started working football,
he knew nothing.
Nothing. He still. I told him I got to get him out, like at least teach him something. Got to get him watching some games because he used to just work like in the back where equipment. So you do. You have all the shirts, you have all the helmets, shoulder pads, shoes, everything you could think of. That's equipment. So he was just usually in the equipment room doing that kind of stuff. But then he came out, something happened. So then we needed an extra guy. He came to football.
He went to go play?
No, like help work football.
Okay, gotcha.
It was interesting. A lot of lost eyes. He had no idea what was going on for the first while. He's picked it up though.
I'm able to watch it,
yeah.
But if you were counting on me to keep track of anything, it wouldn't happen. I'm able to watch it and understand like the
dynamics,
the direction of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's pushing when and like when the ball will flip. I know
offense, defense.
I know the basics.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what they're doing with the plays, no idea. Especially how like the point system works. It's a little confusing. I think maybe it's not, but
well, it's not to me. But
I've never had it explained to me.
Yeah.
My dad really wanted me to play football.
Really?
Yeah, like super bad because he used to be in his glory days. He was a glorious football player.
High school
and college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what college you went to?
No, I don't. It was somewhere in Minnesota.
Huh.
Yeah, that's where he met my mom.
Oh wow, your mom used to live in Minnesota?
She did for college. I think they both met each other in college.
What'd your mom do in college?
I don't remember.
Huh.
I think she just got
nursing, right?
Well, nursing, but she did that later. She got her AAA, and then I think her and my dad got married. Then they moved back over here, where her parents lived in California at the time, I think. And then they settled down somewhere. Then my dad's parents owned land over in Western Washington. They moved in on the Mossy Rock Hill. That must have been where it was. And they had all of us kids. Jeremiah being the last ones, where then we had to move out of there by the time Jeremiah were like 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like the family was made, then, yeah. But my mom got an AA, and then later When my dad stopped bringing in money, she went back to college to get a nursing degree. So she just had to get her bachelor's then. So she only had to do it for 2 years, which is nice.
That's not a bad. Very smart.
Yeah, super smart.
Very smart.
My mom's pretty smart.
That's good. Good
Dude,
thing to have.
You're bleeding. What? How? Do you remember how? Or is it one of those like mystery?
It probably just happened. I just itched it. Huh. I don't know. I'm glad you pointed that out. I'll keep that laid down.
Shoot, yeah, my bad. Oh, you have a few scars.
Oh yeah, this is from football.
Are you playing?
No. I'm not playing.
What? Okay.
So I helped. So
That's a pretty big gouge.
Each coach. So we have like an O-line coach. We have a wide receivers, offensive coordinator, quarterback. Every coach has their own position group, right? So they also have their own equipment guy for the most part. I mean, a few don't because we just don't have enough bodies. But so I help O-line. I don't know.
What's O-line?
O-line, so the
O-line or O?
O-line, offensive line.
Okay.
So they're the trenches. They're the 5 guys up front. You got your center, your 2 guards, which are flanking the center, and then the tackles on the very outside. Your right tackle, left tackle. So I don't have to do much to help them. I usually just like every once in a while, I tell them what time it is and catch some balls. I have honestly a pretty easy job when it comes to practices. But so they do something called one-on-ones, where it's the offensive line versus the defensive line. So your 5 guys up front on defense versus the 5 guys up front. Was it our center? I forget. It might have been one of our guards. But so I just catch the ball, and then I'm the quarterback. So I just stand there with the ball and try to move a little bit, give the D-line a little bit to work so they can have their eyes on a quarterback that they have to get to.
Okay.
So what ended up happening is I got the ball, and then sometimes it's like a little slow, so I kind of just stand there. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or something, but I went to run out of the way, but I like ran not far enough, and I look over and I just get a D lineman just thrown into my body.
No, dude.
I didn't even I noticed it. I was like, that hurts. And then I finished up.
It looks massive.
I finished up the thing, and then I looked down. It was just like a gouge of blood.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was kind of annoyed because it happened like in the middle of practice, so I had to get it wrapped.
Yeah.
And then it looked really weird just with like a random dude who's not even playing football with a wrap. So then I threw on sweats. I was like, what? This is so whatever. It took a little bit to heal, but honestly healed better than I thought.
There was a lot of times in cross country where, you'd be 3 miles into the woods.
Yeah.
And then you trip and bash your knee into something, and you'd just be bleeding for the rest of the run. It was, you'd be watching as the sweat carries the blood down to your socks.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun when that happened.
That was the worst part, is because for some reason I was like, I didn't think it was too bad, so I was just going to rinse off with water.
Yeah.
And then the water ran down and my entire sock was just like red. I was like, so stupid. Why did I do that?
Yep.
The worst thing,
ruins your sock, dude.
Yeah, shouldn't have done that.
Now I have pink socks.
Yeah, it's pretty cool working.
You've seen a bear, right?
I think so.
That
was at the cabin. You were at the cabin, right?
I don't think so.
That was that one trip. Okay.
I was asking Alex about all of his animal encounters.
Yeah.
And he mentioned a moose was probably the biggest one. I don't remember if you were a part of that or not.
Yeah, so that was just me and Alex.
Okay, yeah.
That was Harrison Lake. Obviously, we've been there a few times.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been during COVID, because, there's just a point that me and Alex...
So that's still high school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Me and Alex were just like, hey, who wants to go? Nobody wanted to, so it was just me and Alex a few times going out there. And one of the times, Alex always woke up super early, especially in high school.
Every time, yeah.
And I just wake up. He was like, oh, Blake, there's like a moose right next to you. And I was like, what? And then he shows me photos, and there's like in the morning a bunch of moose. And then, but that's the night before. He might have actually been talking about this one. There was a giant moose that came to our camp. Up from the hill, it was kind of just wandering around.
So there was 2 moose encounters.
Honestly,
for Alex.
It was the same trip. It could have been the same moose.
Okay, gotcha.
From night to day. Yeah. There's a good chance. But that one kind of just was wandering around, and me and Alex were like, come on, dude. Just trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Moose
are not to be messed with.
They're not, but honestly, when you have hammocks up, it's not too much to worry about, Because you can just play Ring Around the Rosie
that's
with
true.
the hammocks.
I think Alex was describing how the trees were very small.
They
you
were.
can't hide behind them, but you can use them to hopefully at least
That's what we were doing.
guard yourself from a moose. Yeah.
So, I think that was pretty much, I mean.
Yeah, so take me through the big bear experience. Because I remember it being explained like you just walked off on one of your lonely adventures.
So
you do that every time.
Me, Harrison, and Braden, we got to this cabin. So I think Braden.
That wasn't Sex Peak, was it?
No. I don't think we've ever done Sex Peak, have we?
When are we going to do that?
I don't know. We're doing Mount Borah the 18th to the 22nd.
Man, I got to get jury duty off.
Oh, have you not got that yet?
No, I can't go in until July 15th. I don't know if you're able to plead to be removed until then.
I don't know, honestly. I do not know at all.
I don't either.
But, so it was me, Braden, Harry. I think Braden got it for his birthday or something. His parents bought him the cabin. So they were like, cool. Decent hike to get up. I think it was like a 3-mile hike.
Yeah.
Really hot. Like probably the hottest few days of the summer.
Oh, what month was it?
Probably July.
Okay.
Is my guess. Late July. And
icky.
We were waiting for Alex because Alex was going to get there like a solid, it might have been a day later or like 8 hours later.
Oh, wow.
So they were just kind of watching movies on their, like they were sharing a phone watching a movie.
Are they in the cabin?
Yeah, we were all in the cabin.
Okay.
And I got really bored because we were just watching movies.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like got up and I was like, I'm going to just check out the area. So I found this, I walked down into the woods and then there was actually like a path. I was like, oh, cool. I'm just going to follow this path and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Followed it good like 25 minutes. I didn't bring bear spray. I was just kind of like walking. I don't know why I didn't. It was the middle of the day. I didn't think anything would happen.
Yeah.
And then Alex might have overplayed it because what happened was I was in the trees for most of it. And then I come out and then on the right side, I could see like the entire bowl, the landscape, the other mountains across and whatnot. And the path kept going down. And when it started to smell a little weird, I was like, oh, whatever. Didn't think of it. And I look way down and there's clearly like a bear. It was either a bear or a baby moose, but I've never seen a baby moose.
They look different.
I would think so.
Yeah, baby moose is still pretty big, though. Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, oh, cool. And I just turned around. I mean, nothing really happened. It was just, I just saw it and then I was like.
Did you see it enough to know that it was that, or did you just see something that it was
for sure.
Might be a bear, probably. Let's just turn around.
Yeah, it was for sure a bear. For sure 95%. There's a chance it was just a really big.
So you think the smell then was the bear?
Yeah, it is. Oh, bears smell awful. You could smell them from a far way away.
Big
we even went back to check it out. I don't know why we did. A few hours later, when Alex got there, we all went with bear spray and whatnot. And the closer we got to where I saw him, it smelled so bad. They smell like
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
So he's like nearby.
Could have been. I don't know. I don't really care. But
I would care, dude.
And then I got back, and then Braden.
Harrison was there. I feel like Harrison would, as soon as he would smell it, he'd be like, "Guys, this is not safe."
It was either stay at the cabin, and if he's at the cabin by himself, what if the bear comes?
That's true.
And probably in his eyes, it was like, well, gotta go with the guys.
I guess so.
It's probably more safe to be in a giant pack of guys than by yourself in the cabin. Because the cabin door barely even worked. It was a random cabin on top of a peak.
Gotcha. So yeah. Wasn't like it wouldn't keep out a bear.
Probably not. If the bear really wanted to get in, it's getting in.
Yeah.
I feel like a car would be a lot safer.
A false sense of security.
Yeah. And but yeah, I got back after I saw it, I was like, hey guys, by the way, because we were also looking for snow to keep our water cold.
Yeah.
I was like, I found some snow, but if you go too far, I saw a bear. So just heads up. And they were like, why would you do that? Why would you go out? Like, they're all mad. I was like, oh, sorry guys, I was just wandering. But
you do that every single time.
Somewhat. I get bored pretty easily.
Well, how it would go is usually you don't say anything, you're just gone.
Yeah.
And then it happened enough that we all know what that means, and it's just somebody will eventually say, oh, where's Blake? Okay. Hopefully he comes back.
I haven't not come back yet.
That's true. You have.
I have 100% success rate of coming back.
That's why we're not too worried about it. I think the first time, I remember I was confused because Alex and Braden weren't worried about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean he just went off on his own? He's just gone? What if he doesn't come back?
Yeah.
And then they were like, he always does.
I mean, he'll come back. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you guys do camping trips before? I mean, I guess if the friend group wasn't even a thing freshman year.
No, so do you remember Stevens Lake?
Yeah.
Where I brought up the giant pickles?
Yeah.
That was the first ever one we did.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was the first ever one we did.
Wild.
Yeah, because I was in your same boat for a long time. I thought you guys were doing them.
That's right. I remember talking about that.
I thought everyone was doing them before me.
Same.
Well, if it was not my first time, I wouldn't have brought up 15 pounds of pickles. Remember how much that slowed me down? Especially that was pre-sports Blake, so I was kind of a meatball, you know.
I mean, you're determined though.
Yeah, I mean,
you would always bring. I don't know if do you have hiking shoes yet? Or do you still do everything in your tennis shoes?
Boots, yeah. I got like some
nice.
Yeah, they're like boot shoot. I was like, hey, Alex, send me a link of boots and I'll buy them.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
I didn't want to do the research.
Mount Borah, I'm going to have to get some new ones for sure.
Mount Borah is going to be a tough one from what I've heard. It's going to be the tallest mountain that even me, Braden, or Alex have done.
It's the biggest one in Idaho.
Yep. So me, Alex, and Braden have done...
How big is Baker's?
Only like 10,500-ish. Something around there.
Only.
Well, Borah is 13.6.
Oh, are we peaking it?
Yeah. There's no reason to do it without peaking it.
Oh my gosh.
I think Baker might have been the smallest one we've done so far, but the thing with Baker, it has the longest approach. So usually to get to the base camp, it's like 1.5 miles and not too much elevation, where this one was like 3,000 to 4,000 feet of elevation and 3.5 miles.
Yeah.
And then you do the same thing.
How many nights was it?
Just one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
how many nights will it be for Borah? I mean, if all of us are going, we'd probably want to extend it just to have fun.
I mean, I've got the 18th to the 22nd off, so I don't know. My guess, I kind of thought we'd just do it in one day. We probably shouldn't. We'll probably do like a base camp.
Probably like 2 days.
2 days. The problem is you got to make sure there's enough. It's probably also not going to be as long. It's not going to be like a 20-miler. Just getting up and down is probably only going to be like 15, is my guess, and that's pretty long.
Yeah, that is long.
But we've done 7-mile hikes a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm
always dying by the end of it, but I feel like you only feel it when you're like a mile out.
Yeah.
It's only when you know that it's about to end that your brain starts to be like, time to relax.
Which is why Alex messed us up with 0.7, because we had like 4 miles of thinking it's almost done. I want to go and do that this summer. 0.7 to finally do it.
You think so? Or should we park at the same spot?
That'll be cool.
15 miles away. Because we did a marathon, didn't we?
I think so.
Walking?
Yeah.
24 miles? Because we went probably at least 12 in one direction.
Well, from what Alex said, we were actually 0.7 miles away by the end. Like we were
no way that's true, though.
I don't know. There's no way to know.
There's no way.
It was also so long ago that I don't even remember where we stopped.
I remember being able to hear water, like a waterfall.
But
we were able to hear it for multiple miles. So I don't know. I think there was a stream or something going by, and that's what I was hearing. It wasn't necessarily the waterfall. But I remember I was dating Emily still at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember I told her, it'll just be a quick thing, like 2 hours. And all of a sudden we're gone for the entire day with no service whatsoever. And as soon as we get back into service, I got a ton of messages on my phone and stuff. I was kind of in trouble. Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was a fun trip, dude.
It was, besides the fact that was still in my tennis shoes everywhere.
Yeah.
Time of hiking.
Yeah.
So it was just like a foot of snow. I'm wearing like shorts, tennis shoes. My feet were destroyed.
None of us came out of it unscathed.
No. I think that still pre-sports, Blake? Because once I got into wrestling,
it was pretty early.
Everything got so much easier for me. Like, obviously. So, but before wrestling, all those hikes were pretty hard for me. So I think that was still pre-wrestling, Blake, where I had no energy.
I think I've lost a lot of cardio, so we'll see how Mount Borah goes. What?
I've gained weight, but I think I've still kept the cardio. Like I've the only thing that it's just the altitude. Like once I get high altitude.
What I do have now, besides like back in high school, just being a cross country runner, I never did anything upper body.
Yeah.
So I had no strength whatsoever, other than in my legs.
Yeah.
So like hiking was never really a problem. It was more the bag on my back.
Oh yeah.
But now I feel like it'd be the other way around, where the bag doesn't matter.
It's going to be your legs.
It'll be my legs. Yeah, because I've neglected them.
It'll be interesting to see because last year, did we do 2 hikes or was it only 1? Or 2 backpacking trips?
I think I did 2. One was
we did the loop.
hot spring. It was Stanley, right?
Oh,
that was early in the year.
You did.
Which I almost thought I was going to die. Thanks. Dude, that was a wild experience. I've never had a panic attack ever.
I've never thought I was about to see a friend die. I was like, oh, there's a good chance Joe's not making it out of this.
I was convinced. In that moment, I panicked because I was like, I don't know if I'm like, I feared my own life for the first time in my entire life.
Well, the worst thing from my point of view, because it was just me and you.
Yeah. At that point, yeah.
Is though I was perfectly fine, there's no way to know if somebody else, what they're feeling.
Yeah.
So I just got to take everything like, well, if he's saying he's about to perish.
The biggest thing was feeling hopeless.
Yeah.
Because, what were we, like 6 hours in? It's dark. I'm getting colder. It was a long one. I was drenched in sweat, and it just kept getting colder and colder. I kept falling. I fell over that last time.
When I had to pull you up?
Yeah. And I was fine at first. I remember saying how I was fine.
Yeah.
And then I slowly started to sink further and further, and my leg was contorted in a way that the farther down I sunk, the more and more pain I was in. The last thing I wanted to happen was for my knee to
buckle
and twist, you know, in the middle of that. It already
that would
felt
have been
so dangerous.
Really bad.
Yeah. And so I started to panic then immediately, where you had to pull me out. I don't know if that was the same spot or not. Maybe not.
No, that was after.
That was after?
Yeah. So I remember it perfect because that was just like adrenaline, get Joe safe.
Yeah, dude.
Where it happened at that
traumatizing for me.
That
just trauma.
Top like hilly peak. Because you remember how I pulled everything out of my backpack to get the
where you hugged me and all that.
Yeah, the giant
maybe we need to add
blanket.
some context for the viewers.
Okay.
So Stanley is a hot springs down in southern-ish Idaho. It's like more of the middle of Idaho. Idaho.
Yeah.
Deep into the mountains. We took a road trip down to go on a camping trip. It was a 2-nighter, I think.
2-nighter, 3-day. Or yeah.
It was a 2-nighter, 3-day trip. There was so much snow there. I think there was way more snow than...
It was in December.
It was in December, so super winter. Yep. Winter trip to the hot springs because it'd be fun to be chilling in the hot springs with snow all around us. We were the only ones there. When we showed up, the road was closed because of how much snow was there.
Yep.
So we just parked the car and hiked the extra mile to the trailhead. Then from there, we all had snowshoes, and the march began. Except kind of how it was the trail, especially after we got probably within the first mile, right? We were supposed to get to the hot springs the first night, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Because the trail was all uphill for the most part, along with, if you could imagine it, the snow being, like concaved in itself along the trail. So it was like 2 mounds meeting.
Yeah.
And so every single step, your ankle would be a different direction. We kind of switched off who was in the lead.
I think it was Alex the whole time.
I remember taking the lead once.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I for sure was never.
I know Braden did too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't remember the approach at all.
I remember because I felt really good afterwards. I felt like I was useful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because, Braden and Alex were like, thanks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Alex, for the most part, definitely charged the way. But, yeah. So we'd be kind of filing then through this narrow corridor of wherever our snowshoes kind of carved, right? As people, as we were literally just carving through snow. We weren't even on top of it. So we got tired really quickly. And before you knew it, because of that slow pace that caused, it was turning nighttime.
What time do you think we started? Like noon?
Probably like 2. 2 o'clock. By the time we got to the trailhead, 2.
Yeah.
Then, when did we finish?
I don't know. 8?
8?
Was it 8? So.
I mean, it was December, I guess, so the sun goes in at 4.
Yeah, because not only was it dark, it was... We started... We were probably like...
dark for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, we made it to the halfway mark.
And we had to throw our own headlamps.
And it was already night.
Yeah.
And we were debating whether or not we should just try and find a spot on the trail to put down the tent and sleep. Thankfully, we didn't do that.
There's a long history with that hike.
Yeah, because you guys have been there a few times now, right?
Yeah, so the first time, sunshine and rainbows. Perfect conditions. Could not have been easier for me, Alex, and Braden.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this is sweet. A hot springs that nobody really goes to. The trail's not too bad. Not too much snow. Perfect. We did it. It was a great time. We went back next year and like, hey, Carson, come with us.
Yeah.
Worst conditions of all time.
Snow.
Yeah. I think it blizzard. There was a blizzard that night.
Worse than what we went through.
So much worse.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
to the point that there were guys skinning up, and he was like cursing out. He's like, do not go up there. It's a waste of your time. This is bullshit. And he just started going off, and then he just left. Like, not mad at us, mad at the trail.
Whoa, yeah.
And it was like that bad. And then so we just, in the middle of the trail, because obviously nobody else is going up at that late, we just set up a tent, tiny trail. We got in the tent, and then we left. We never even made it. Never even made it to the lake,
Yeah.
or the river that we camped on.
So then I remember
Then
you guys,
you were after.
Yeah, I remember you guys inviting me, saying this is an annual thing now.
Yep.
And you guys extended the invitation to me, and I remember you telling me how it's going to be extremely difficult, and I was like, oh yeah, it'll be fine.
I try to warn you.
Yeah, you did. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't listen, so I decided to go along with you guys. So the hike, I guess I was not in as good a shape as I thought I was, or even in the right mentality of it.
I think it was mentality, because you were in shape.
I complained too much to the point where I made it worse for myself. Absolutely,
Could've.
I think.
Yeah.
At least mentally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
my own perception of the situation, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. But yeah, so eventually we get to a point, and I don't trust Alex at all. Whenever, I would ask him, like, how far do we have until the thing? And whatever he said, it was always different.
Yeah.
It didn't really line up even in my own mind of where I am at in the trail.
Yeah.
And I don't think Braden would tell me. I don't remember why. Maybe he didn't have the map at that trip.
He probably didn't.
But you guys have been there before. So anything you told me, it was always like, I think it's this, Nothing was ever solid. I was always trying to debate whether or not we were actually... I mean, we were already so behind schedule. Nothing really was solidified at that point in my own mind, right? So we get to a certain point. It's dark. I have been sweating this whole time. So I'm just drenched. So I'm carrying the extra weight of my wet clothes. The cold air is making me colder and colder. I feel myself no longer retaining heat, but losing it slowly.
Yeah.
I feel my body getting colder and colder, even through the hard movement, right? And that was kind of my hope, is I'll be warm because I'm moving.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't working.
Well,
So
when you're moving that slow, there's not much warmth that
I
your
was
body.
crawling at that point,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Well, not we all were. I mean,
Yeah.
Alex and Braden started picking up the pace once we told them to leave, but like
Yeah.
even they were not going too fast.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just
Even Alex said it was a hard hike. Alex is track ultra star.
Yeah.
I am. That really put the...
And then
That gave me a whole new perspective when he said that it was
hard.
difficult. I think he said that we were like, it was still daytime when he said that.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh, yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm like, what? That's not good. What do you mean you're feeling it?
And then so to get to the part on the mountain,
Yeah.
what ended up happening is we took a small lunch break because we're like, all right, what we should do, we're losing energy. Let's get some food, right? So then you had a sandwich. I think I had like a granola bar. They had some granola bars.
We all felt better after that.
That was when we split apart.
No.
I'm talking about when
I
we
think
were
we ate first.
we were on the side of the mountain.
When I had my little panic attack, I did end up eating, but I think that was a separate lunch break.
That was before.
It was?
After that panic attack, we went straight. We were just cooking. I was like, I'm getting you to camp. Remember?
I fall in the snow again. Then I just stand up. I stop moving. And, what's going on in my head is I'm thinking about, like, where I just came. It took us 7 hours. That was supposed to be a 2-hour thing.
Yeah.
I am so exhausted. I'm getting colder. I'm hungry. We're not going to make it to the hot springs, which means there might not be warmth. It's like, which meant, in my mind, there's no escape.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't go back. I would not make it.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally physically not make it back. I would die trying. And so then looking forward in front of me, looking at Alex and Braden in the snow, it's just pitch black around us. Everybody's exhausted. and I don't know how much farther we have. They've been saying it's been a mile for the past 5 miles. So it was kind of I felt so hopeless. I just started to cry. And I just had to stop. I just sit down. I didn't know what to do, so I just started panicking pretty much. And I don't remember what I said, if anything.
So I don't think you sat down during the panic.
It was after you warmed me up a little bit.
Did you?
Then I sat down. You're like, here, I have a sandwich, and I pulled out my food.
I think 100% certain you're combining two different things.
Maybe.
So you were going really slow, and that was when we were in the big group still, all 4 of us.
Okay.
That's when you started kind of like the panic started to set in for you. And
yeah,
you're like,
because they left after that.
Yeah. They left after you ate. They weren't there for the panic.
Oh, you're super right.
Yeah.
Because then halfway to the campsite, then we stopped again, and I had a sandwich.
Yeah. So that last time you had the sandwich, you're like, you started panicking, like, hey, let's get some food in you, get your body going. We'll get some snacks and let's push through. We'll camp on the side of the river. We're about 30 minutes to an hour away. And then you're like, okay, did it. And then you were still eating, and I was like, hey guys, it's pretty dark. I've done this before. I'll stay with Joe.
Okay, yeah.
You guys go get this camp set up. So once we get there, Joe can crash. And like, I was also tired, so I can crash. I mean, it was perfect. So then they leave, and I think that was my mistake, is separating the group. So then once we got to the top of that hill, it was just me and you. And then you were like, oh my, like we don't, they're not here. And I think
it was fine. I was happy to know that they were setting it up, I think.
Well, if I was at least in your mind, I would be like, if something happens right here, me and Blake don't have a tent. You know what I mean? I don't know if you were thinking about that.
I felt so safe next to you.
Oh, okay.
You were my hope. Like, all of a sudden, all of my, like, I don't know. You went full mom mode.
I did.
I started crying. I turned around and looked at you, and you're like, oh. you immediately
dropped my bag.
You pulled out your space blanket.
Wrapped
you brought me close, and I was just sobbing. And as soon as you embraced me, I started to feel warm again. You know, rather than getting colder, I was getting warmer, and that was probably the moment where I started to regain myself. Yeah, because
I remember I was just like, all right, breathe.
Yeah, dude.
I think I was like, you gotta breathe, because if you don't, then we don't make it. Like, come on, you got this.
And you know, my breaths were
I was like, slow down.
I was
slow down.
You know, all panicked out. The air I'm breathing is frigid. You know, I was.
And once you got back, because after that you did the fall, and then I think you almost panicked again. So I flung you up as hard as I could when your knee started to slack. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I just grabbed your hand.
Alex and Braden were still with us for that.
Not the last one, because that's when we were going down.
There was another one.
Oh
man, dude, I fell a lot.
And then I remember
by the end there, I was falling all the time.
I was fine the whole time. I was just worried for you. And then we finally got there, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know where you were at. I was like, he might actually, you know. And then
I might actually just die.
Yeah.
We got there out of exhaustion and pass away.
I used all of my energy getting down. I was going fast as I can, you know, blowing my whistle. Do you remember the whistle I kept blowing?
Yeah, dude.
Making sure like if anything happened, they knew where we were at. I got there. I was exhausted. I just face planted. And then I remember just like in the snow, like I just like, all right, I'm here. I'm gonna fall. Joe's right behind me. He's good.
Yeah.
I remember you getting there like, oh, hi guys. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Your whole demeanor changed. I was just sitting there in the snow. I was like, what happened to the almost dead Joe? I was like,
it was left behind.
Yeah.
It was as soon as we started marching out. I remember when it was just you and I.
Yeah.
You talked me up and you said we're so close. I don't remember if it was something about how we can hear something. So, like
we could probably hear the river.
It in my mind that it was really close. Plus, I trust you when you say something
compared to
far or close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you were just like, we just have to make it, and then from there we're good.
Yeah.
And so I remember I marched on, if you will.
Yeah.
And I put all my hope in you, pretty much. And that's kind of what got me there. Then as soon as I saw them, you know, all panic is out. Like, yeah. I'm back in reason.
You're back to Joe.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there. My heart was racing. I didn't know if you were. I was like, my friend's about to die. And then we get there. I was like, I'm glad he's okay, but I don't know what just happened. And then I remember Alex like, Blake, help us set up camp. And I was just sitting there. I was like, I don't know what just happened, man. Because Brayden and Alex, Brayden and Alex also didn't know what happened.
No, right.
Because I didn't tell them anything yet because I was just sitting there.
I mean, yeah, at that point, I was just happy to be alive. Yeah. You know, it's like, there's nothing to be, like, yes, I was still cold and uncomfortable and hungry, but but I was alive. And we're at the campsite. I know that I don't have to push myself more. Yeah. I'm going to get in my warm sleeping bag and
be just fine.
Sleep. Yeah.
And then we woke up, we went to the hot springs, and it was a good trip.
That was a crazy way to get to the hot springs, going over that log and stuff.
Oh, I had to take all the backpacks. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think I went across that.
Not on the way back, though.
On the way back, you guys did it. But I went across that thing, was it like 13, 15 times?
I don't know why you did that. Because
nobody else... Because of wrestling shape, I was like flexible enough. I just scooted back and forth.
I don't know. It's a little sketch. It is sketch.
I was at the point I was like, I did not just do this to not get to these hot springs.
Yeah.
And I think it was Brayden who was like, I can't go over this with my backpack.
Yeah.
So then I took Brayden's over, and then I think it was you where you were like, well.
I was sketching myself out.
Yeah, you were like, well, if you did it for Brayden, I was like, all right. And then I came back over because then I saw Alex give me a look. I was like, I'll take Alex's too. So I just, because I had to scoot back and forth between that like 3 times just to smooth it out, because there was that much snow on the log before we even got there.
Yeah.
So
I gotta say, for the rest of the trip, I was totally mentally sane.
Yeah.
Like that next morning,
you knew you were
I was
okay.
feeling good. Yeah. The hot springs weren't far away. By the time we got over the log. Just for context, the log was going over a roaring river.
Oh yeah, that's a good part of context.
Crazy roaring river, snow everywhere. This ice melt just floating down it. If we fell into that, we would die.
Yeah,
we didn't have an option to start a fire.
I don't know if we would die because we had a space blanket and stuff.
That's true.
But it would have ended the trip. Like hypothermia would set in.
You don't think? I feel like it would have been way smarter to get to the hot springs, maybe.
I guess it depends how hard the fall was.
Because it's not like we're going to make the hike back. And
because when I'm thinking falling off that log, that's a good 4 feet that log was, maybe even 5. So I'm guessing you fall
be soaked.
You fall on your shoulder. So as long as you don't hurt your legs, you could probably make it to the hot spring.
I don't think you would hurt your legs. I think you would float. I think you would land in the water. I don't think the impact of the rocks below
40-pound backpack on?
Maybe. If anything, then the backpack would break your fall. It's just
if you fall backwards.
Soaked.
Yeah.
Well, the heaviest part makes sense that would be I guess you're still the heaviest part. I don't know. Not you specifically. Yeah.
Wow.
No. Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Well, because then you got to think
like
about...
an 80-pound bag, your body's still way more than that.
Are you falling far enough for that flip to happen? Because that flip would happen over time.
I'm not a cat. I don't land on my back all the time.
Exactly. So you would have to fall quite a ways for that.
I just don't feel like you would be at risk of breaking a limb or anything.
Was that your favorite trip? What was your favorite trip?
My favorite one?
Yeah, that we did.
That's definitely the most memorable one.
One of my favorites, I don't know about you. Do you when I fell in the lake kayaking? That was one of my favorites.
Oh, dude. That probably is also my favorite because that's one of the... I took one of the kayaks and just went out into I took the big one, I think, and just went out to the middle of the lake. Mm-hmm. You guys were all on a rock somewhere in the middle of it, closer to camp. And I just sat there and I'm looking around. This is Upper Priest Lake. Yeah. So there's these like cool mountain peaks with, I want to say it had snow on it at the time. Snow-tipped mountain peaks all the way around us with like blue sky, but all the clouds were on the mountains themselves. So they were all coming over with some raining and some not. And so that mixed with the blue sky and sun above me, it was all just so majestic, like in the most literal sense. Yeah. And I just sat there in peace for like 20 minutes. Just in silence.
That was also when we were stupid and we never checked the weather before we backpacked. Do you remember how much rain happened that day?
So much, dude.
And I brought a hammock.
It was a lot of fun.
So it was raining and you guys had a tent. So I was just kind of out in the rain because I didn't want to get my hammock
Didn't you join Brayden in his tent?
No, I was out there the whole time.
Are you serious?
Remember, I was just singing. Do you guys not? Because I remember we were talking through all the tents. And I was just out there singing, just doing my thing.
Well, yeah, because...
I think I just had shorts on because I didn't want to get anything wet. So I just kind of sat out. It wasn't super cold because it was in the middle of summer.
I can't believe our parents let us do this.
Well, I didn't tell mine anything. Remember?
My mom knew all of it. Yeah. And every time she'd just say, like, stop telling me. Yeah. Like, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Because most of the time, I wouldn't care enough to ask where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, this is what we're doing. And my mom would be like, where are you guys going? I'm like, like Tubbs Hill. I don't know, man.
Crazy. You'd always say something way off the mark. Yeah. You would say things that were in a different state.
Yeah. I remember one time I think I just said Rainier, and she's like, "Oh, have fun."
Oh
And I think we just went to Harrison.
Well, yeah, because you just mentioned the flipping over in the kayak. It's like as soon as we got there, we had a small game plan, kinda. We had direction, like we were gonna get in the lake and go to the riverhead, or the whatever you call that.
Yeah.
The mouth of the river.
Yeah.
That would then take us up to Upper Priest Lake, but getting into it was so stormy. We still got everything into the water, looking at the stormy lake, and went, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." And
no worries. With it, how fast did I fall in?
I don't know, because Alex and I, you guys, it was you, Braden, and Harrison, right?
On solo kayaks.
And then we had 1 2-man one.
You had a tandem.
Yeah, and it was so you 3 went out first, and then Alex and I finished up putting everything together, and then we set out.
Yeah.
So Alex and I, we turned this corner onto the lake, which you guys all went around towards the mouth head.
Yeah.
Or the river mouth, whatever, the riverhead.
Yeah.
Same thing. And all we see is Braden and Alex like circling something, which looks like an empty.
Braden and Harry.
Yeah, Braden and Harrison.
Yeah.
And we see I guess we figured out it was you, like sitting in a red hoodie, on the beach, and we're like, "Oh, what just happened?"
So I was using my sister's kayak. My sister's 130 pounds light.
Okay, gotcha.
That was right before wrestling, so I was maybe 265. I was a chubby boy back then.
Big boy.
I'm still big, but like not 265.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And so it was already me, and then all my backpacking stuff.
Yep.
Which barely kept her afloat, but I could have made it. And then it started to rain, and started to fill up with the rainwater. And then I remember I'm in the middle. I mean, I might have been like a football field away.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle, and a wave crashes over, and a little bit of water comes in from the wave. I'm like, oh, weird, whatever. Again and again, and then that water slowly weighs it down to where, like when you put a cup underwater, and it starts flowing over all the edges. Mm-hmm. Just started happening to the seating hole.
The whole kayak.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I see that, I'm like, well, I don't want to lose my stuff, so I just jump out. I jumped out. Luckily, my phone and everything was okay. It was just sitting on the seat, and I was in the middle of the river or the lake. Mm-hmm. That was the lake
stormy
part.
Lake.
You
could have drowned. So
it was
easily.
So cold, and then
oh my God.
I remember I was like, Braden, hey! I was yelling at them because they were a little bit. I was the last solo kayak to go in.
Yep.
And then they look over, and I'm like yelling at them, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know," and they just keep going.
Oh my gosh!
And then I see Harry like double take because Harry kind of saw.
Yeah.
And then they just slowly come over to me as I'm kicking my legs. It's hard to get to the shore, football field plus away. And then they just kind of watch me, and they're like, "You okay, Blake?" I'm just like, "If you guys aren't gonna, I'm just gonna go." Like, so I remember I dragged myself and the kayak all the way to the shore where that kid was, grabbed his hoodie, and then.
This all took place as Alex and I weren't even in the water yet.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, what happened? Oh, I fell in. Let's go.
Then I think you and I switched, right?
Because obviously weighed less. So.
Yeah. I remember it being surprisingly difficult. I think I underestimated like my own strength, I guess. At that time, I was just a cross-country kid with no upper body strength whatsoever.
Yeah.
So when it came to actually pushing myself in the kayak to get where I needed to be, I think it was Harrison and I usually in the back. There was a point where it's like you guys were just so far ahead that we couldn't even see each other.
Me and Alex were cooking.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was so because
Harrison and I were taking our time back in the back. That's fun.
Me and Alex tested that tandem out, I think a few weeks before that.
Yeah.
And we'd set our Garmin watches, see how fast, and then we're like, oh, it's sad we can't tandem on the thing, and ended up having to.
Yeah. I don't remember why we initially.
Because it was just it was just you were the only one that didn't have a kayak, so you just used that one.
Okay, yeah, that
so
makes
just
sense.
Yeah, and then ended up being that. Just then.
That's so much fun, dude. Those are crazy memories that not every 16-year-old can say they did.
It's kind of weird how much stuff we were just doing. I think it's because some of it was
surprising amount
COVID.
of freedom.
When we ran into COVID, and besides Harrison, whose mom was a little, I think so. Was it Harrison's?
I don't remember.
I don't
remember having any problems.
One of our families didn't like the whole COVID thing, so they couldn't go out much.
My mom was all like, "COVID's fake." All right, cool.
That's how my mom was.
Yeah.
That's Idaho, though.
What?
I said that's Idaho, though.
Yeah,
so.
it is. Yeah.
But
I mean, it helped. I don't know. Like,
during COVID, we had so much free time.
I never held myself back during COVID. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I did all sorts of stuff.
Well, that was a good thing because in everything there is fun to do in Idaho, you don't even have to worry about seeing other people.
That's true.
Like,
that's so true. Dude.
Like we were out doing stuff, but I mean, by the rules and everything, we were still safe. We were around each other, which we saw each other in school anyways.
Yeah, it's true.
And then we were never around anyone who we could have cross-contaminated and all that stuff. See, we technically did everything safe still.
I forget how we just had a school year just end.
Yeah, it was just a weird school year too.
It doesn't feel like that happened. Like trying to think back in my memories, it doesn't feel like we just. Not only that, but the weird schedule where we had a few days off. Yeah, the cohorts or whatever. Yeah. It's
Were you in cohort B?
I don't remember which one I was in, but I remember it splitting up our friend group. In terms of the.
So you must have been in cohort A. Me, Alex, and Braden had B, and everybody else had A.
I must have been an A then. Carson, Harrison, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was dumb. I did not like that.
What? It was by.
So it's like one of us would go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that.
So it was by letter. So the first half of the alphabet up to M was an A. So LM. So me and you were right there.
Yeah, you're right.
So Braden.
I remember that.
I remember Braden requested, because who he was seeing at the time, she was in cohort B.
Yeah.
So he requested to go to B, and they just kind of said, okay.
Yeah.
So Braden would have been with you guys, and it just would have been me and Alex, but then Braden switched.
Oh, wow. All right.
So,
well, that worked out, I guess, since there was 3 of us on both sides, that works. But still, it was, while I'm in high school, I want to hang out with my high school bros. So.
But I mean, we also weren't complaining about having 2
That's
days.
also true, yeah.
I think we played enough games. We were online every single night anyways.
Dude, the glory days of Fortnite.
That was prime.
Oh,
you didn't have anything to do. That was also Warzone.
We literally did play every single day.
Yeah, every day. Because, I mean, what else was there to do during COVID?
That and camping trips.
Yeah.
That and almost dying on camping trips. Then there was, we climbed up that mountainside for some reason.
Which one? We've done a lot.
I want to say that's Stevens Lake.
Nope.
No?
We never. Are you thinking of Harrison?
It might be Harrison Lake. It's one of the glacier lakes up on top of a mountain. And then looking at to the right, there's like this big, huge grass, 70-degree angle.
Harrison.
Where we climbed up the side of it just because we were like, well, let's go up there.
Yeah.
And, halfway up, we're like, wow, this is really steep.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go back down this way.
That was Harrison.
Yeah.
Because we ended up doing, you remember the big loop we did last year? Around Harrison, Beehive.
That was the same lake.
That was the same lake.
Oh, wild.
And we ended up
that connection.
We did it again, but this time we knew to do it on
we went the less steep route.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Where nobody trusted me for some reason, and we had to go up 2 random mountains.
I feel so bad
because of Alex.
That. I got to the top of that and went, this was not worth it.
So that was the funny thing to me is every single trip, I know what's going on. Yeah. Like Alex plans them out.
Yeah.
So obviously just listen to Alex.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, hey guys, that is definitely not the peak. Just go straight and we're at the thing. And then I was on one side, Alex was on the other. We're like, all right, just do the vote. And then you and Harry went with Alex. We got on top of the peak, which I was fine with because I Harrison was the one that really wanted to get home. I don't think you really cared. I didn't really care.
Well, I was having fun. It was the first. Well, it wasn't the first one, but I've. Especially throughout high school, I complained throughout every single one of the trips.
Yeah.
And so that one specifically, I think the first trip, so it would have just been those 2 last year.
Yep.
That the Stanley one, I went into it with that mentality of, I don't want to complain. But then I thought I was going to die. So
there's not much you could do about that.
So I think I kind of let myself go there. But the Harrison Peak trip, which we never did Peak Harrison.
I don't think we did.
Nope, we didn't.
Have you still never peaked it?
No.
We could peak it this year if you want. It's literally...
I'm so down.
It's a 1-night trip.
Because
you just go up there.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
You get up there day 1.
I remember the hike, yeah.
And then you summit day 2 to the peak, and then you hike all the way down. Yeah. It's a 1-nighter.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Do it on a weekend.
The, what was I saying?
You were talking about not complaining, and then you were talking about the loop.
And so that trip was so much fun because I just had a way better mentality about it, even through the struggle of the hike, right? It was so much more fun. I wasn't complaining at all.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it just, I don't know. It's, so we get to the second option to, like, climb up the mountain, if you will. It's either we're gonna peak this mountain, or we're just gonna go straight to the campsite.
Yep.
So Alex, I think, really wanted to do it, and you and Braden didn't.
Braden wasn't there.
You and Harrison didn't.
No, me and Alex wanted to. Harrison didn't.
No way.
Yeah.
No, because I remember. Then I said I was like the break of the vote, and I said, yeah, let's do it, because I was like in my whole. Oh, this is awesome.
Are you talking about peaking Harrison or peaking the last mountain?
The last mountain.
Oh yeah.
I was not on a trip where we actually peaked Harrison.
Yeah. So the last mountain I was fully against, because it wasn't just peaking it. I was fine with peaking it. If we wanted to do that, it was which way do we get to Beehive? And Alex was saying it's up that mountain, and it's just you just walk down the ridge.
That's true.
And I was like, no, it's not. You go straight. I trusted
Alex.
Yeah.
And then we get up there, and no, it wasn't. We had to go back down the way that we came. The super steep, sketchy, man.
And then we made fun of Alex the entire time.
It was such an awesome view, though.
It was cool.
It was awesome.
Like, I was more, like, I just showed up there.
But I remember we got up there, and you were like, should have listened to me. And I'm like, I know, dude.
Yeah. I was like, this is what you guys wanted. I took my backpack off, and I just started eating some snacks.
I got so mad. I was pretty frustrated at that point with my own self for trusting Alex. Dang it, dude.
One too many times.
I got ruined it. And then the trek down to the camping spot was pretty crazy, because all of a sudden we find that we can't get down. There was a big cliff. There's a big cliff.
And then didn't I just find that random place? I was like, you just got to slide down this 10-foot drop.
Yeah, just got to jump.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then slid down it.
It was worth it at that point. I was so tired.
Ended up going well. I mean, that's the crazy thing, is we kind of it always works out.
We just go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know where you are GPS wise and just head in the right direction, well, that could definitely get you killed. But it's worked out for us so far.
It has.
Have you ever had ticks?
No.
The first tick I saw ever was on a trip with Alex and Carson.
I heard Carson got it, right?
He got what?
A tick.
I don't know.
Who got the tick on their balls? Someone got a tick on their balls.
I want to say that was Alex.
Was it Alex? That's pretty funny.
ATP?
Yeah, ATP. Biology. I wrote, funny enough, I would show it to you, but then they wouldn't be able to see it. On his whiteboard, because I was just at his house in Whitworth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And on his whiteboard, I just wrote ATP and a heart. And then he didn't notice until he got back home, and he's like, who did this? And he just sends it to me and Braden. So I just said hugs, kisses.
Nice. That's awesome.
Can't let him forget.
He knows who did it, dude.
Yeah.
He knows. Yeah.
He's got to.
That's so funny. I looked in the group chat. I have it limited on my phone for Instagram to close and not let me open it after 15 minutes.
Oh,
and
okay.
I turn notifications off.
Yeah.
So this was just a rare time where I actually opened up the group chat, and I saw there was 2 photos. I clicked on them, and it was you like, I'm in a house right now, but you said you live in the basement, and this house doesn't have a basement. Hopefully I'm in the right spot. And I just started laughing. I thought that was so funny. Blake could just be in somebody's random house waiting for Alex to get home.
Yeah, so what I also straight up walked in the wrong house at first.
What?
Yeah, so I just went to the address, and I didn't see the number 2 that he put in the thing, so I just walked in number 1. Clearly a bunch of girls lived there. And I was like, all of his roommates are dudes. So I just shut the door. I never even went in the house. I just saw the shoes. I saw some of the posters. No one was there. I was like, cool, shut the door. And I went to his place.
Okay.
And then I opened his door, and I was like, I don't see a basement, but I see running shoes. So it's probably...
That has to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just found out I was lucky, because Alex said everyone that lived around there was cross country anyways. So it could have been any of them, because they all have running shoes and play
that's
Frisbee. So
yeah, I was laughing, dude, because you sent a picture. It's like you're on a couch in the house.
I was
you're just like, I don't know if this is where you live, but I'm here now. Yeah. So,
and then I went to bed shortly after.
Accept that.
I just slept on the couch shortly after, and then woke up.
I'd be stressing. Yeah.
My thing was it's a college. If it wasn't a college town, then I wouldn't worry.
That's true.
Or that I would worry, because like a college town, some random student, like, whoa, what's going on? But you see so much stupid stuff in college.
I mean, with roommates and stuff, you always just figure that it's one of your roommates' friends.
Yeah. So I wasn't too worried.
It's like a golden retriever kind of thing. Like, there's an retriever in my house, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like I just see a random guy in my living room. Oh, you want some water?
Yeah.
And he's packing up my Nintendo Switch. Ready to leave with it.
Yeah. Do you got a bottle of water? I'm about to leave.
I'm on my way out.
Yeah, but I'll take one. It'll be great. I love that.
Yeah, I don't know. That Borah is going to be crazy. I hope something crazy happens in a good way. I like the crazy stuff.
I don't think you and Harry know how hard this is going to be.
No, I never do. It's always way harder than I think it'll be.
Like, we're going to be walking...
Like 15 miles uphill, huge amount of elevation. It's not just
like
uphill.
7.5, I think, is my guess. I haven't actually looked at
elevation gain? 7,500?
Oh, maybe more than that. I don't know about that. But I mean, 7.5 miles one way, 7.5 miles the other way is my guess.
That's not that bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's all elevation.
Okay, yeah.
Like, the only thing, kind of like, you know how I usually never complain on trips? If anything, it's just like, I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
The only time I do is on these big trips because I don't know, I think because I had asthma as a kid or something.
Yeah.
Like, altitude sickness gets me so hard every time on these big ones.
Just can't breathe.
I can breathe, but I just like, I get nauseous. It's just like, and I just got to trek through. I mean, it never really.
It's just it's you, Alex, and Braden that do all the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like this last one, I forgot sunglasses and it's a glacier.
Good idea. I should bring that.
So I got snow blindness.
Oh.
Yeah.
That hurts the eyes bad, dude.
And the head.
Massive headache.
That's probably like the worst headache I've had in my life.
That would be awful.
It felt like my eyes were going to explode.
Have you ever had like a sinus infection?
I've had pneumonia when I was like 14.
I have no idea how that would feel.
But other than that,
in terms of a sinus infection, it's, you know, like your sinuses up in your eyebrows, and then you also have
maybe. I haven't been to the I don't know what I just kind of get sick sometimes.
If you have never had one, then it makes sense how you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Basically, your mucus, like, it's kind of like where it stores it, or like it all flows into, I guess, and then it leaks into your nose, right?
Yeah.
Those clog. And then when they clog and they're no longer able to come out of your nose, the mucus has no way to escape. It just it continues to fill and dry even, and just begins to form pressure within your face.
Oh, I think.
So like inside of your skull, you want to scoop your eyeball out.
I think I've had that.
It just continues to build, and you just sit there in agony as your whole face begins to just pulse in pain. It's really fun.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's anything similar to snow blindness, or how the pain would definitely be different.
It's nauseating. I mean, the thing is, like, I didn't really care too much to think about what was going on. I just knew it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So it's just like, just got to sit in the tent. Can't do anything. Because last thing I want to do is permanently, like, damage my eyes, obviously.
Yeah.
Not something you want to do at early 20s.
Yeah.
So, other than that, everything, all these have been going good. On to Borah, which is, it's cool that I kind of want to start checking off the tallest in every state, at least around us.
That'd be so rad.
Because we've done Hood, and Hood's the tallest in Oregon.
Oh, really?
And Borah is the tallest in Idaho.
Yeah. Well, Rainier is Washington, right?
Yep. Next year we're doing Rainier, which is pretty dangerous.
Can you even peak that one?
Yeah.
I've seen, like, driving to my family's land in western Washington. Yeah. I drive past it, going over the White Pass, and it has a beautiful view of Rainier. You could also see it from my grandma's house.
It's
It's snow covered on the top year round. I think it's like above the tree limit, you know?
All of these are far.
Yeah. It's like, it looks terrifying.
It honestly,
I don't know how
it looks terrifying from a distance. Like, I remember, I think it was Adams, or it might have been Hood, that I was in the car and I looked at it. I was like, all right, guys, we're about to die.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you're, like, looking at a car, it's like, that's not possible. And then you get there, it's just like, well, it's tall, but it's just kind of, you walk up it and then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's once you start getting up there in altitude where they start getting dangerous. And, like, for example, Baker has crevasses, so it's a little dangerous if you're not ready for them. Rainier has crevasses. I think Rainier is the tallest in the area. I think the tallest in the Pacific Northwest is that one in Alaska. It's like Denali or something like that. That's the tallest in the entire North America, actually.
Oh, wild. Okay.
And, but yeah, so we're doing Rainier next year, which That'll be Washington checked off. And I think there's one that we could all do in Utah, I believe it is. It's the tallest in Utah. I think it might even be taller than Rainier peak-wise. Or if not, I think it's in the 14s.
From like sea level, or do you mean?
They're all from sea level. That's what all the,
okay.
like, that's because, for example, Denver or Colorado in general has so many of the tallest mountains, but they're already a mile up.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, oh, yeah, we got a 14,000 peak. We got like 5 of those. It's like, well, you guys are already 5,000.
But like from base to peak?
Base, yes.
It's way smaller.
So like.
Well, maybe.
Adams.
I don't know, way smaller. But.
Adams or Hood, if not both, are taller than Baker, but they're just overall shorter because you get to drive up a lot further.
What's the state that has the 2 mountains that are so close in height that people will go up and like stack rocks to try and make it taller? Is that Idaho?
No. I don't know. I've never heard of that.
There's 2 mountains that maybe it's not the tallest ones in a state, but there's 2 mountains that are so close in size and like you could see them from each other, I think. So people will hike up and try and stack it taller.
Yeah. Try to see who can get up there. That's pretty cool.
To try and like claim which mountain is the taller one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun to do one of those.
That would be. I don't think that's in Idaho. I think I would have heard of it. But the one in Utah, I want to take it because it's like a 22-mile trip. It's a long one, but it's like pretty easy. I think it's called Kings Peak. It's just like, you know, it just seems like a really, and it's more of a mesa, flat canyon like hike where we're used to all these super tall mountains, and it's just like it's still really tall, but you kind of I don't know. It just seems cool to do something a little different. Yeah, kind of getting bored of all these glacier peaks.
Oh yeah, way too boring.
Well, they're all the same. That's like at some point you're just hiking on snow. The only difference is the peak. And
they're all gorgeous. But
yeah,
for sure.
But
I feel like I would much rather the glacier than somewhere hot. Like doing something in Arizona, if you will. Like that kind of hot, like hiking a canyon. It's just desert.
The thing that sucks with glaciers is then you have to get your ice axes, your crampons, and you just have so much more gear, and you don't have enough room for like other things.
That's
like,
true.
You gotta pack a big jacket just in case a blizzard comes in that you're not ready for.
Yeah, you're right.
Where
There's
if it's
a lot
just
more packing for
really hot, shorts, t-shirt.
I guess I would. Let me correct my statement. Doing like a winter blizzard packing, I'd probably rather do the hot one. Yeah. But like a summertime up in the mountains where it's a little colder, there's still snow, but it's melting.
That's just like a rig. Okay.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it's just a nice temperature. It kind of cools you off as you're walking, but it's not cold enough that it brings you to panic as you're slowly losing body heat.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's different.
Blake, on the way over here, you were telling me that you did all the Christian things when you were little, but you don't talk about spiritual things.
Yeah.
I want to question you a little bit on it and see if at least I can understand why you don't talk about it.
Okay.
Like, why don't you? Because I don't think I've ever had a spiritual conversation with you whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you had any history with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Why do you not talk about it?
Well, it's not that I talk to a lot of people about their beliefs.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah. So more often than not, it's over a couple beers where people get a little more drunk and they want to open up about that stuff.
Next time you're on, I'll have to, I'll come prepared with a sick pack.
The funny thing is when I'm under the influence, I get more like, for sure, not talking about anything at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would work against me.
Yeah. I would talk a lot more about what you like, but I would talk much less about my stuff.
Gotcha.
I kind of think it is what we were talking about in the car, where it's some people in the fraternity, especially the underclassmen, they look up to people, and the friend group. It's just.
So is the social pressure to.
Not social. I think like you also never hear me talk about politics. I keep religion and politics.
That's true.
I keep religion and politics out of everything.
But it's like, are you worried about influencing me?
No.
Yeah. So let's talk about
it. But it's the influential part in it isn't about. I don't know how to explain it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because though I know you won't. There's also the aspect of people's perceptions change when they know how somebody feels about something.
True.
Whereas if you're like, I don't know what he knows, it's just Blake. But then the more you find out, it's like, oh yeah, that's Blake, the Republican Buddha. It's like, well, then now I just added 2 more tags to me that
that's true.
Maybe
2 more titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just Blake versus Blake, the atheist independent. There's a bunch of different, the Blake, the Mormon.
It's just however people.
Democrat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just tags. Whereas.
So it's your tactic of
just staying Blake. I'm just Blake.
Just everybody can like you because you offend nobody.
Sort of, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.
It's just Blake. It's the best way. That's how I think about it. It's just like, because the moment I do have a drunk conversation, for example, my roommate.
Okay.
I know his beliefs. I know everything about him.
Sure.
When I think of him, he's the Connor, the blank, blank, blank.
Okay,
the 3 different titles that I think about him as.
Okay.
Well, people, they're just like, oh yeah, you like sports. It's Blake.
I guess
so. It's much more.
So maybe that's why you do it. It's because you do it to people.
Everybody does, whether you want to or not. You see somebody and
there's absolutely subconscious judgments, but when I think of my friends, I don't then list out what I know about them.
Well, of course not. But when you think of Alex's character,
his character, superb, dude.
Well, I know, but when I think of even back to high school, that's the Republican friend. That's how I always saw him.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I love Alex. He's the one that's clearly he knows what he's doing. A lot of us in high school, we didn't know our political stance.
Yeah.
But he was the Republican guy. I never saw him differently, but I know some people do see people differently.
Yeah, right. I guess that's the problem.
Especially with meeting people, you could know somebody for 10 years and not know what they might think of something, or you could just meet somebody and you definitely don't know how they think of something.
So what if I told you that I won't judge you?
Then, if you told me you won't judge me, then you wouldn't judge me, but you would think of Blake being under these different tags. I can, like I just said, Alex is a Republican friend and I don't judge him.
Well, yeah.
I'm saying obviously Republicans are super, I don't care about any of that. Yeah. I don't even say if I could be Republican.
I just mean sharing what you believe in. I don't know. It's why, man.
Because I'd rather have the tags around Blake be like Blake who's done this, this, and this, not Blake who believes in this, this, and this.
Don't you think that can hold you back in a sense of relating with more people?
Yeah.
Because if you limit to what people can relate to you about, if that makes sense.
I just said yeah, but now that I think about it, I don't think so. I think sending out...
It's I don't know sports, but if you're Blake the sport guy, then it's there's a gap there.
But have we ever struggled to relate on things?
No.
Exactly.
But usually it's about things that aren't sport related.
Exactly.
So it's you have more, obviously everybody's more than whatever their tags are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So don't have them out there.
My man. I feel like not having them out there, that just becomes one of your tags.
Yeah.
But why is that better than just sharing?
It might not be. I mean, it's dependent on how you see it.
Yeah, because for sure.
Yeah. Like you said, with that becoming a tag, that some people could get really angry. In sports, it's a big thing.
Is it your problem if they get angry?
No.
Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is me not even saying my tags. I'm nowhere in sports is a thing. So none of us care. We're just friends. In sports is a thing. LeBron James doesn't talk on these social, political, religious matters, blah, blah, blah. It's a big thing. So that's one of his tags is he doesn't talk about it, which he talks about black justice and all that stuff all the time. But I'm just saying there are people who just, you can't please everyone. But the thing is, don't try to please anybody.
So if I ask you then, what... Man, there's so many questions, I guess. It doesn't... I don't know. I feel like the reasoning is flawed, but if I can't poke holes into it with questions, then it might hold up, I suppose. I don't know. It feels more like there would be a reason for you to not share, more due to an insecurity rather than just being able to share and have confidence in what you're saying. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. The thing is, the things I'm not sharing about, it'd be weird to have insecurity. I mean, especially since wrestling, I just really haven't been insecure about anything. I mean, even at 260.
I don't think of you as an insecure fella.
Yeah.
But why then not talk about it, I guess? I don't think I'm grasping it.
Yeah, let me give you a different answer than the
cool.
tags.
Yeah.
Because the tags, I guess, is just one way to look at it.
Well, right, but I
There's
guess
also
I
the
don't see a
influential
negative
way.
in that. I don't see like that as a reason to not talk.
I think it's because I've always just been Blake. It sounds weird.
Well, no, you've definitely always been Blake. You've done that very well.
Yeah, I'm great at being Blake. No, what I mean is like, I've never, been the one to talk about that stuff. It's like, oh, you always know what you're getting. I mean, you always know that you don't know what you're getting, which is what you're getting. So it's just like, I don't know. I do know. And I think the tags is the best way to put it. Is just like, it adds less to what there are things that I don't think need to be attached to me.
Probably because
I don't care about. Not that I don't care about them, because there are things that I care about enough to associate with. There are things that I don't care if people know about them.
So does that mean that you would talk about it because you don't care if people know about it? Or
no. I guess... Huh.
It seems like you do care, which is why you don't tell people. But I'm trying to find the reason... I'm trying to understand why you do hold them back, I guess. Like, I don't know. For me, it's like I try and be an open book and share with people everything, wherever conversation goes, and I don't think it has limited me in any sense or like labeled me in a way that
it's
usually if you're sharing what you believe in, then it's kind of what you want yourself to be associated with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I think sharing is usually better. I don't like, because like I said, I talked to a lot of people about what they think.
Yeah.
I think sharing's great. Like, you should talk about it to, talk about it.
Sure.
It's just something that is just like, I don't know.
So if I ask you a question, then would you answer it?
I mean, you can ask the question.
Oh, man. Okay. Like, do you have any spiritual faith at all, if at all? And if not, that's totally fine. Or if you do, that's... Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just depends on spiritual, what you define as spiritual,
Yeah, what do you define as spiritual?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I do know.
Okay, so what is it then?
I think that's because my roommate Aiden, he gets drunk and he loves to try to pry it out of me. He hates it.
Well, just don't share with him the podcast.
No, I think it's just an Aiden thing, because he, out of anybody, he will get drunk and he wants to talk about religion. Even though, like,
what does he claim to be?
I'm pretty sure he's just like, what is it called when you don't know about anything? Like,
agnostic.
Agnostic.
Yeah.
I think he's more agnostic.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's read the Bible. I think he knows a lot about different. I mean, he's an English major, so I'm sure he's read it.
A ton of literature.
Yeah.
Philosophy, probably.
But I don't know. It's just like, I think the want to know about it shouldn't. It shouldn't impact anything, but it doesn't. It won't. Yeah. Which I know that as well. I think it's the other thing I said in the car, kind of going back, is with all these people, fraternity-wise, president, all that stuff, and then within the friend group, always kind of been like the goofy older guy, but like, it's
so you have an image that you're trying to hold up.
Not the image, but I also know a lot of things that I've done, other people have followed.
Do you think if you said what you believed in, then people would find hypocrisy in your actions?
I mean, yeah, but you can say that about every single thing. Everybody's hypocritical. I mean, even my own family, who is the most Christian family of all time. Yeah. Everybody's like.
I'm not saying you're perfect.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I just mean, like, are you worried about it bringing then negative?
No, not at all.
Like,
No.
yeah, okay. No negative judgments toward you in that sense. Like, if you, like
Satanism. I think that would be like the only negative one.
Well, that'd be wild.
Could you? No, I am
What
not.
would I do though? It's like, I don't know.
I don't think there'd be anything negative. But I also, here's the thing, I don't think there'd be anything positive.
I mean, more like negative judgments, like based off of your own character, because
Oh.
like maybe if something that you believed in then contradicted how you were living. Or
I know what
something
you
like
mean.
That like
Yeah.
friends would be like, wait a minute, that doesn't line up.
No one would even care.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I think it's also under the belief that I also don't share anything if there's nothing positive that can come out of it. I don't see anything positive coming out of it. Besides just, oh, now we know this. Cool.
But how do you know if there's nothing? Like, have you ever done it?
Done what?
Have you ever shared these things that you don't share now? Like, was there?
I don't think my mom even knows.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
So what initially?
It's just how I've always been. Like, even when I was little. Even
But that
tiny.
doesn't mean it's right.
I know.
My man.
But as I've gotten
I guess
older,
I do really want to know.
I think
I've never had.
as I've gotten older,
Yeah.
maybe because I've always done it, I've given myself reasons why I should continue not sharing much about that sort of stuff. Because I mean, like, I'll talk politics, but I'll support both sides so you don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Sure.
I'll talk religion and I'll say positive and negatives, even if we're talking about whatever I do associate with. I'll give more reasons of why it's negative.
It sounds like you're so open-minded, but
that's actually another point
that you
that
don't make like a decision on something. Maybe
that's a good point, is because I also do see a world where I try to see everything from every aspect, and then boom, it could change.
Yeah.
And next time
absolutely.
you see me,
Your perspective should always be able to change. If you get mad about something, if somebody, explains how something should be better, if that makes sense,
yeah.
then it's your idea is no longer grounded in reality, but your own emotions, which is not a good thing. So I don't know. It's like, I want to know, dude, so bad.
Well,
I'm so curious.
you could throw out questions, and if I don't give a good enough answer, you could just cut it out like you never asked. Like if I just
So you're worried about saying something wrong?
No, I mean, if it's just boring, like I give you a boring answer, you could just cut it out. Like if I say, if you ask me a question, I just wrap around it. It's like,
bro, it's not gonna be boring.
Ask away, and
Really?
I'm not saying I'll answer it. My friend asks away, and I'll answer it without answering it, which is what I've learned to do best.
Okay, so do you have any spiritual faith whatsoever?
Well, I answer that. The perfect way to answer without answering is what depends what you define spiritually.
Okay, can you try and define spirituality?
Yeah, of course I can.
Go for it.
No,
Why not?
just because there's always a way to see it. I can define different types of spiritualities.
Okay,
some
there
people
are always a way to see it. Many people have their own definitions, of course.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Which is
that I'm not saying that you are like you can yourself say what you think it is without claiming that that's truth. This is just like what my life experiences led me to think.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it can't change, obviously.
There's a bunch of different ways to view spirituality. Some people just see it as there's nothing, and if there's the people that died and that's it. There's no God, there's just the spirits around.
So you're talking about it, but you're taking away your own perspective.
My own identity within the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So like I said, I would love to talk about anything, but I just won't give anything that's my own identity within it.
Except for sports.
Oh yeah, I'll talk. Besides,
wait, what makes the difference then?
Besides, because sports are sports, and the religion is much different.
So you put different weight on them then?
I think I put, yeah, to a certain degree. Like I put more weight on my total research of sports and everything around that, and how much it affects my life. But I might put more weight on how I think about religion, So they can have more weight in different aspects.
So do you have more weight than,
I have more weight than most people. I'm around 230 right now.
Do you put more importance on sports or on the ones that you don't talk about?
It depends on what, I mean, in some aspects I put more importance on sports where it's what's going on in the future of my life. In some aspects I put more importance on religion, on what's going on future. In some aspects and with politics when it's election season. Actually, I don't really care about that, but it's, yeah, it all depends on what aspect of life. Because there are many different, like, food is a different, for example, food is important in an aspect of life where you got to eat. Where food is not important in an aspect of, you know, setting up your day. You can eat whenever. So though you have to do it, it's important on the having to do it scale. It's not important on the when do I do it scale. So there's different ways to view importance on that, obviously.
I have no grasp of your reasoning here.
Exactly.
I'm so confused.
Which might even help my case even more.
It doesn't make any sense. But all right, man.
Yeah.
I want to know so badly.
You can keep asking about like different things, and I'll.
But
give,
if
like,
I get nothing but non-answers,
there'll be answers on,
but
how I view the topic, but they won't be answers on my identification in the topic.
I guess all I want is to hear about your own experiences and where you're at in your own life, if that makes sense. With your own walk, if you will, if there is one at all.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It's not like making a stance that you're going to die on, you know, like die on that hill or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So then, do you have any spiritual faith whatsoever? If not, it's chill. If you do, like, is it in Allah, Muhammad,
here we go.
Jesus,
I believe
Buddha?
I believe there is a reason to life. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
There is an importance. It is here for a reason.
Why, though? Why do we have importance? What brings that importance?
It's up to you. It's up to everybody.
Hmm.
For example, some people see importance of making a name for themselves. Some people see importance of a family name going down generations. Some people see importance of meeting certain criteria so they can make an afterlife. Some people see importance in becoming a different human again, or reincarnation or something like that, being good enough to stay reincarnated.
Yeah.
So there is an importance in life. I do believe that. Okay. There is a reason for life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a reason for life, or is that...
It's up to you to decide, you know?
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. So
you just think then it's good to have a purpose?
Yeah, everyone should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. For sure. So what do you think your purpose is?
I don't know.
But it's important to have one.
Yeah. For everybody.
How do you find it?
I'm assuming you mean lifelong purpose, not just short term. Right?
Well, like short term is like...
Short term, my purpose is to graduate college.
Yeah, my purpose in this moment is to host this podcast well.
Exactly.
I guess I mean lifelong purpose.
Yeah.
Like what is your ultimate purpose, if there is one at all?
Be a good person, I think, down. That's a good, like, that would describe the most of it. You can get that within any asset. Like, purpose is not religion. Purpose is not anything like that. Purpose is just, what do you want to do? And I think be a good person is a good enough purpose. And then on top of that, grow. Be a good person and grow.
Grow. I agree, dude. Being a good person is probably a good idea. Yeah.
A crazy answer.
Yeah.
I don't.
Very crazy.
Yeah. And I just think it's kind of that simple.
Well, here, okay. Let me dig in further then.
Yep.
If you're willing.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that you grew up going to like church camps and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of your family's Christian.
I think all of it, but yeah.
All of it.
Pretty much.
So where are you on that then?
On what?
Like, have you distanced yourself from that? And if so, why?
I think every kid at one point does.
Yeah.
So,
I did until last year, July 24th.
I I don't know. I never even distanced myself. It was just more,
Yeah.
I've done it. So then I did it and I know about it. You know, I felt like I did it. So less active, I guess,
Okay.
is the best way to say it without saying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I still know everything about it. I still read the Bible. Like I've
Sure.
Proverbs, all that. But it's just like, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Like I was baptized when I was 11, I think. And went to church quite a bit.
So do you like have faith in Jesus? Or no?
I don't know. That's one of the things that I'm saying, that then that opens, once I give that answer, then it just opens everything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But is it bad to open? I guess my argument is that it's not bad to open.
Of course it's not. It's person to person, you know? So I think for the most part it's good to open, especially every single belief system says you should.
Okay.
Every single one's like spread, you know, keep the word
you mean
out.
like all the different religions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Go out, convert people.
Kind of Mormon right there.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Christianity's a bit more just like spread the word, like let people.
It's more about it's like showing the love of Christ.
Yeah, so people adopt it rather than come to this thing.
Yeah.
It's more of, here's what we do, adopt it. So there's every single one says you should open it. But so no matter what I believe in, I'm technically not opening up about it, which you said everyone says you should. So, yeah. So it's like you said, it's not a bad thing to open up about it. I think it's a great thing.
So why do you not? Maybe, man, there has to be a reason in my mind that's like deeper than you give it credit to. Like give it credit for.
Could be.
There has to be something like family something.
No.
Friend something.
Family's always been great with it. It's not I don't think it's anything.
Well, great with what?
I mean, just like it hasn't affected the way that I talk about it at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, how do you talk about it?
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Man, dude.
So it hasn't affected it.
Man. All right. Well, I can try and drop it, but it'll forever.
Well, like I said,
because I didn't know you had any history with it whatsoever. And I was just figuring you're a Blake.
Yeah, exactly.
That frustrates me.
And now you know I have history of it, but you know current Blake is still just Blake.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm fine with saying my history with it. But
you didn't really, though.
Exactly.
Oh, man. You're playing mind games right now.
No, I'm
5D chess.
It's not mind games. It's just...
You are, dude.
Answering it
you are
to the ability of trying to satisfy.
You are seeking an image of yourself. You are trying to portray yourself with a certain image.
Which is no image. Yeah. I'm trying to portray no image. I'm just trying to...
That's impossible.
Exactly. But because things you do...
So then if you don't ultimately show your full self, is it not then a farce?
Could be. It's up to person.
That's such a non-answer.
It's person to person.
Is it?
Yeah. Because, for example, let's talk about Harry. Me and you both know Harry for about the same period, right?
I've known Harrison since second grade.
Oh, okay. So you've known him for an extra 5 to 6 years. We both have known Harry since he's gone through puberty and grown up.
Oh, yeah.
But we think of him with different adjectives, right?
Do we?
Start naming out adjectives. Describe Harry. His tags. Give him...
What are his tags?
Yeah, let's each think about like 3 tags. And then we'll say these 3 tags. And then say the 3 that come... like
you can't just describe them in 3 words.
Exactly, but try. Describe Harry with 3 words, and I'll describe him with 3 words. And then I'll show you how differently people can think about people if you don't give them tags. Like, take religion out of it and take political views out of it. So it's just 3 tags about Harry, which is the great thing. When you take these things out of it, then everybody sees each other differently. I
can't think of 3 adjectives. This is hard.
Every part of you. So think of high school you. High school you is still alive in some people's memories. The people that last saw you
Right.
in high school,
Well, everybody's
that's who Joe is.
perception.
Yeah.
It's like you never know anybody fully. You just have a perception of them within your head.
Yeah, so
For sure.
there's a moment in time that you're remembered by everybody.
But controlling that perception is manipulative, isn't it?
Controlling what you want out there. I mean,
I guess some would say it's smart.
yeah, I mean, not saying religion or politics isn't going to change the world, you know?
I mean, yeah, it's not like our opinion necessarily matters,
Yeah.
but just to be able to discuss it is fun.
So, like, here, let me think of three
Okay,
adjectives real quick.
Studious, very responsible. At least he was in high school. I don't know how his college has been going. Handsome.
Okay. So this is my point. Those were your three words, and exactly what you said. That's high school Harrison living within you.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I know a Harry who still studious. You're correct about that. There's so many times I'm like, hey, Harry, let's do this. I've got 2 papers I've got to write. Come on. So yeah, let me think of 3.
It's hard. It's
It
hard
is.
because I don't have 3 words for everybody. Harrison is just Harrison in my mind. I know if I had to describe somebody more, it'd be more of how do I feel when I think of them? What emotions pop into my heart, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't think I hate anybody, so it's usually I don't know. I guess I don't know how to put that to words either.
See, it gets hard once you take those things out of it.
Well, yeah.
And like you just said,
course.
then it's just all on emotion. Then it's great. That's perfect for me.
But I know a lot about Harrison, even
Yeah.
those things that you hide,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't change that.
Of course not, because we're friends. Like I said, if you knew it, it wouldn't change anything.
Well, okay, even if he was a stranger. It's like I just finally...
I don't think that, though. I think if I randomly meet let's say I'm drunk, talking to dapping dudes up at a party. I just meet some random dude. Let's say he's Paul, right? I meet Paul.
Love him.
And
maybe not.
For some reason, first thing he talks about, he's like, we're talking, he's like, oh, anyways, yeah, what's your opinion on the election? Immediately, I'm like, all right, this guy's, though I don't even know his political standing, he cares a lot about it.
Yeah.
So that's immediately, he's Paul, and say that's the all I talk to him, and I leave. Everybody else probably knows Paul, the backpacker. Let's say he surfed.
Yeah, right.
Let's say Paul rides dirt bikes. I know Paul, the guy who loves to talk about politics. Let's say he only talks about it while he's drunk. He hates politics.
Okay.
So to me, Paul is the politics guy. To everybody else, Paul's the surfer, chill dude, right?
But, okay, so then why do you put an importance on everybody having the same exact image of you in their mind?
No, they don't, which is perfect. But I'm not Blake, the religious guy, or Blake, the politics.
Well, right,
I'm just Blake, the dude who sucks at beer pong. I'm just Blake, the dude who did whatever. Let's take parties out of it. I'm just Blake, the dude who ran down the mountain while we were backpacking. Say I was backpacking with random people, which are more fun adjectives than Blake, the,
It's like I just had on the first guest on this podcast that I didn't know previous to the podcast.
Yeah.
My boy Dylan, he brought on his friend, right? Justin Alder.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because we didn't know each other, but
Yeah.
it was there was a respect with the conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
A respect towards each other, even if things like he isn't a Christian.
Yeah.
He respects Christianity and all that jazz, but it's kind of so it's not like there was necessarily conflict, but it didn't change the way I see him, I guess.
For most people, it doesn't.
All the conversation, the conversation was simply productive. I think I learned things, if that makes sense. There was a challenging of my own ideals along with challenging of his own ideals, right?
I think one thing that I might have said or portrayed on accident is I don't think there would ever be a negative connotation to me talking about it. It's just one of the things I don't like. We have so many, especially because of that kid Aiden that I was talking about, who always brings up religion. So then I'm in the middle of all these. Within my fraternity, we have 3, 4, maybe even 5 different religions
Yeah.
that we get drunk and talk about. And, you know, only once it's got a little like over the top, but that's, I think, just because alcohol was involved. But it is great to talk about it. And I think a good way to also put it, I think I'm content where I'm at. Yeah. So I'd love to talk to people about what they like, but I'm good where I'm at. So I'm gonna
try and question you here. Yeah. And see if I can question around your limitations, if you will.
Is it okay to show this logo?
I don't know. We sure, dude. Just gets me copyrighted.
Branded by Mainstays.
Please sponsor us, Mainstays.
Alpine Forest. Go ahead. What was your question?
I can light that if you want.
I just want to smell it. Okay. Big candle guy.
Yeah. I like candles too. I love pine.
Smells like Braden's old. He had Sasquatch body wash.
Oh, nice.
Smells like that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So what was your question?
Man culture. Are people without, maybe that's a bad question. No, let's just throw it at you.
All right.
If they're, well, man, dude, what should I ask you right now? Can you define good?
No one can.
Okay.
There are some ways you can. I mean, I think it's easier to define bad than it is good. If that makes sense.
Maybe. Wouldn't they just be the opposite of each other kind of thing?
I don't think so. Because, I mean, there are things you can do that are bad. But there are things that you can do that to some people are good, to some people are bad. For example, farmers. What some people think what they do is bad. They hold animals, they kill the animals off and whatnot. What some people think they do is good. They keep animals, they give them a place, they feed Americans, they keep economy going. So to some people it's bad, to some people it's good. There's people that protest farmers and there's people that wouldn't have a supply of meat without them.
Do you think they're...
So yeah, I think it's hard to define.
Do you think there are more, do you think there's more than one truth?
Elaborate. What do you mean?
Truth as, can you define truth? Can there be two truths that contradict each other?
Like two facts? I mean, two facts can't contradict each other.
Well, okay.
Two Newton's laws. There's not something that can... If something's a law, for example, in physics, that means it was impossible to disprove. If there's two truths that can be like a parallel line, so they prove each other, but they can't contradict.
Right. So how many truths are there then?
That aspect. I mean, you mean like religious truths?
No, not. I mean, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, take that where you're taking it. Sure.
I think there is. Sure, if you're talking about the religious aspect, I think there is one answer. And the hard part of that answer is, well, if there is one answer, then because there is something. I mean, let's the odds of 3 different religions being perfectly correct, probably not.
Well, they all contradict each other.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
So there's one truth in that aspect, but knowing which one it is impossible. But then you run into the thing is it's based off faith. But what if your faith for one hits you before another? So then how do you know that the faith for this one was actually the wrong faith? And why didn't the right religion, if there is a higher power, give you the faith for the right one if they knew you were looking for a faith? Mm. So then you run into that. So there's one truth. How true is it?
Yeah.
I do.
All of our beliefs are just built upon our own life experiences. And if we've never experienced the other one, then how do you know if it's...
Yeah, think of
how do you know you're right, if you will?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Even think of it from a continent point of view. Different continents have a higher rate of people believing in a religion. Mm-hmm. So before the world was able to talk to each other, trains, planes, etc. We had one part of the world that was Muslim, one part of the world that was Christian. People would kind of say, I'll try to spread the word. But what happens if you were born in the wrong area? You were born in an area that didn't even know about it, you know? You can take Indians, Native Americans into consideration where, I mean, they grew up believing in there's a God for the sun, there's a God for the lake, there's a God for the mountains, there's a God for sleeping. Yeah. The night, the day.
There's been many, many gods throughout history.
So then you got to think of the truth in, well then, how do you know, or why were they born in a place that they were never able to believe in the one truth, the one religion that is right?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
So there are truths, but depending on your view of religion, I don't think it even matters if you believe in the right truth. I think it matters if you're a good person, the right one will pick you in the end.
The right what will pick you?
The only truth, the real religion, if
like
there is
truth
one.
Will be revealed to you?
Yeah, like if you were a good enough person, but let's give me a random religion that has a God.
I don't know any obscure ones.
Just any that has a God.
The Aztec people, whatever they believe.
Sure.
Got to sacrifice some fools for better rain.
Let's say the Aztecs' religion was real, and I think for the most part it might have died out. I don't know what they believed in. Probably just sun.
I think, yeah. I don't know.
Something. So let's say and it died out. I think if you were a good person, you've seen the other, like, oh wow, this was the religion that was right, but I was a good person, so I made it. So I think there is, like, the answer I gave you did have meaning when I said the purpose is to be good, because I think being good will, no matter what, set you up right. I was thinking you would give me like a more general one, like let's just throw out Mormons.
Sure.
Let's say the Book of Mormon is the one truth that is real, right? Just for this example.
Okay.
And let's say I was a devout
Mormon.
No, something else. That's not Mormon.
Oh, Christian.
So in this scenario, I'm a devout Christian, but the Book of Mormon is correct. It's the real one. So I believe if you were good as a Christian, you did everything right. Let's say you didn't even follow them, but in general, you were a good person. You still make it to whatever
the afterlife
for that specific religion is.
For you, what happens to you after you die?
That answers the question, does it not?
Yeah,
I don't know. Nobody knows, but I believe in something. There's no way to know.
What do you believe?
Who knows?
Okay, see, you're saying, like, how do you know what's truth?
Yeah.
Because really what you're born into defines your experiences and what you're exposed to.
I'm going to lift this up real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to make noise on that end.
Probably a little bit, but it's fine.
I was playing with it too much. I should stop touching it.
No, you're good, dude.
Oh, ooh, right there. All right, what's
perfect. Up? You say how you can never know truth because it's all based off of your own experiences, kind of thing. Like, how can you value your truth over another person's when you've never even experienced what they've experienced, right?
Yeah.
There's no way to know.
Yeah.
But then the only way to figure that out is through conversation and expressing what you believe, so then people can compare and contrast and figure out what truth really is. So why do you not talk about it?
Because I want people to believe in their own truth.
My man. Okay, that makes sense, actually.
I feel very comfortable where I am, so I would rather help somebody else feel comfortable where they are, because I know no matter what, if they're a good person, they don't have to believe the same thing. They're going to end up in the same place.
Gotcha.
So as long as they're comfortable where they're at, they're going to be a better person, and it's going to end up great for them.
Yeah, right.
Which is the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right. I think that quenches my curiosity.
For now. And
for
then
now.
We're going to go to Borah. We're going to be on the mountain.
I will be asking more stuff. I will be.
Now that we just did this hard mountain, maybe you tell me now.
Yeah, maybe you will.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I can kind of get where you're at, I think, based off of those general answers.
I'm pretty sure you can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it would shock me.
No,
maybe you have only answered things in ways that you knew.
I try to.
Well,
I try to be general enough that...
there's no certainty?
I would rather talk to you and help you with yours, because that's more important than helping me with my own.
But if I have the same idea as like that, right? I want to help you kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then you don't let it happen.
Because I don't think, I think I'm in a good enough spot where help's not needed.
Yeah, right.
Comfortable.
So, ooh, here's a question. Do you think you'd be afraid to die?
I don't want to. I mean, nobody wants to. But it depends on the situation. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
Does it?
I'm not,
Like, even for me,
I don't want to die, but I'm not fearful of it. It's not something I think about. But if I was in a situation to think about it, yeah, if I'm about to freeze to death, I'm going to be pretty scared.
well, right. That's kind of,
Yeah.
like, I'm very confident in where I'm going to end up kind of thing. So it's like the actual closing of the eyes, like, doesn't matter. But if I'm being mauled by a bear, like, that's going to be terrifying.
I see. Okay.
Like, you know, but like the actual afterwards, are you afraid of what comes next, even if it's nothing?
No, because if it's nothing, then it doesn't matter. Then it's nothing. Then there's not. What am I going to fear? There's nothing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
It's almost more frightening to think about, let's say some religion got totally lost and we're all somehow living in the exact opposite way. So then we're going to an afterlife that is awful.
Isn't that a fun thought?
So that's more fearful to me than nothing happening.
I guess I would argue if there is a God that is loving and just, of course that wouldn't happen. Does that make sense? It's kind of like
which is kind of what I was going on earlier, where if there is that God, no matter where you're born into, as long as you're a good person, if they're just, you go.
Even if you've heard that truth, if you will? Or stopped like seeking it?
Well, so
if you've heard that truth and then you chose otherwise, and you get up there and you're like, let me in, and he's like, well,
think of it this way.
Okay.
Let's say in this example, last time we used Mormon. Let's say Islam is the one truth. Okay. You've heard of Islam.
Yeah.
You were a good person, devout Christian. But because now let's say someone talks to you about it again, you have so much faith in this one thing, it is unfair to you to just hear about it and automatically know to switch. You know?
What do you mean?
So what it sounded like what you were saying is, if somebody's heard of Christianity, and let's say Christianity is the one truth, but they were Mormon and that's where all their faith was, and they didn't switch, should they be accepted in? Well, if they had so much faith in this thing unless that faith is put in them where it's no longer their decision, if it's your decision to make that choice, you're going to stick with the faith. There's no way to instantly switch just because you've heard it.
Well, it's not about instantly switching. I don't think anybody expects that. But
so what's your question?
Basically, throughout your life, like if you've heard that one truth, let's say it is Islam, right?
Yeah.
And you reject it. Like, even if you live a good life, why would God let you in?
If they're just because you were a good person. Is my thought. Because then you get down the road of, well, then you didn't know.
I guess, okay, so can people be good without God?
Yeah. 100%. I think I think it's easier to be bad without it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because you, no matter what God you believe in, you have a rule set.
Yeah.
That you can follow to help you be good. But without that, it's a little easier to be bad, but I think it's possible, easy if even, to be good.
Yeah. I guess like the Christian faith, there is no good other than God. So it's like any good I do, it's not even me. It's literally just him doing it through me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like when it comes to being just, if it is no longer it's not without him, I'm fully wicked. So without him, then there would be no way that I could ever earn my way.
Which is one way to look at it.
Yeah. So then in that way, then there's still justice served when it comes to my evil. Even the evil that I commit now, it was still paid, but it was paid on the cross kind of thing, rather than my own suffering later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there's still justice.
Because that's a way to view Christianity. There's, for example, one thing that gets brought up a lot is sexuality within it. One of the most Christian people I know is a gay man.
Baller.
And there's, I think it's the Old Testament, maybe even the new one, that says, "Thou shalt not sleep with man."
Both of them.
Yeah. So does that mean he's wicked because though he believes in it, he's defying it? Then you get on that line, So if he does believe in it and
it's not because
that faith was put within him, why would such God then say, "You're also only attracted to men"? Sorry, pal.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever know that. I'm not a gay man. I don't have that same thing. But I think assuming because you're born with something makes it good is a fallacy in thought. I think it's not correct thinking, because I am born just as much of a sinner as a homosexual man. The same way that he can't do any good to earn himself into heaven, nor can he do any evil that would keep him out of heaven. The same way is for me. The same way he struggles with men, I struggle with women.
Which is the way I see it, as you see it between you and this gay guy. It's the same way I see it between a Christian, a Mormon, and this. You believe in it, you follow a good path, and there's nothing you can do mentally to change that faith.
What about the people who do? Whether it be from Christianity to Islam or Islam to Christianity or vice versa with every other religion.
Then I think they make a choice to follow a different faith that, as long as they're still on a good path, even if you change out of the one, let's say you went from Islam to Christianity, and Islam, we've been using Islam, was the correct one. And you went from that, as long as you still live a good Christian life or just a good life in general, you're still going to be accepted in the gates of the Islamic religion.
So it's about earning your way.
Earning it, or I almost like most religions are like, hey, if you don't know better, you're going up. Like if you're a kid when you die.
Sure, like the age of accountability.
Yeah.
Mormons have it at 8 years old. So
exactly.
The day before, you might as well kill your kid.
Exactly. So, sorry, Jimmy, I just don't see a good future for you. Gonna
get you up there real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the same way that age is there, I think it also just is there with religion in general. I think as long as you're a good person, like, because you're a kid, you're naturally good. Usually, like, you don't have...
You're innocent.
Yeah, you don't have evil intent. You might do bad things, but you don't have an evil intent.
Sure.
You might throw a...
Or you don't understand
can of beans in a microwave.
You're innocent.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
So as long as you stay within that path, you still have that... Instead of a age of innocence, it's an aura of good, for example, that you can still make it.
Do you believe in auras?
I mean, I believe in... No, I don't. Maybe not the same way you do. I believe
I
believe in people having like...
How do you think I do?
Well, I don't know how you do.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying, I'm just like...
Yeah, sure.
Maybe not in the same... like people have... Like my general... An aura is how you see somebody.
Right.
I think. Not like an aura of religion. I think it's just like you have an aura. Everyone has like an aura of, oh, that's Blake. This is his aura.
Sure.
Like
you're just saying the vibe of the person.
A vibe.
Okay.
Even better to say it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's like a aura that follows you that's a religious aura unless you want to see somebody in that way.
Yeah.
I think it's an aura. Another way to say it is tags.
I think what you're trying to do is exactly what every Christian should do, in the sense of there is no judgment in what people believe. You want to respect where they're at with whatever they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to understand that, what they do believe, they have no reason to doubt it, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's cool. It's definitely cool. Do I think it's the yeah. I don't think it's the full thing of it, if you will.
Should we bring up the groomers sticker on your Idaho?
Yeah, if you want.
What is that?
It's the Disney. It's like the Disney logo with groomers on it. It's part of my conspiracy theory stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, because I don't trust Disney.
What's the worst organization to you?
Worst one?
Yeah.
Well, they're all owned by two of them. Well, three kind of. There's BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. They own 80% of every single business.
Yep.
And BlackRock and Vanguard, they own the majority in stocks with each other. So it's basically one giant thing.
Yeah.
And they determine what goes on. So like which one's the worst one? I think they're all working together, except for like mom and pop businesses.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get big enough, they get bought out and they're part of the system. So which one's the worst? The government itself. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you ever entertain conspiracy theories?
No, not really. I don't, because it doesn't it impacts my life, but it's not going to derail it. Like there's no conspiracy that's going to just one day flip a switch in my life. So it's like, why care about it?
Even if the water turns the frogs gay?
I'm not a frog. You know, like there are things I think should be in school, shouldn't be in school. I think there are things that don't matter if they're in school that people give a lot of matter to being in school.
Yeah.
There are, for example, the one thing I will bring up is like, I remember one of the greatest, not greatest, but like one thing I was really interested in, I think it was like 6th grade or 7th grade. They just taught you about every single religion for about a month. Like Islam, Buddha.
That would be cool.
They used to do that.
I didn't know that.
Did you go to River City?
No, dude.
Oh,
Middle.
River City did that.
River City seems so much nicer from afar.
It was great. I remember I had to go to Post Falls for like the gifted kids program or whatever.
So bad, dude.
I felt bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best.
It was a bad school. But like I feel like the building kind of rubbed off on the students.
It probably did. I remember always hearing like bad things happening there.
Crazy stories.
And like
our lunch, there was a rule for hands up. It's because some kid was caught pleasuring himself under the table. So duties would come by and just every now and then say, hands up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then another kid almost died because he got punched and hit his head on the asphalt. Stuff like that. It was a crazy school.
Wow.
I didn't talk to anybody. I was mute.
I don't blame you, not for that place.
Yeah. It felt, it looks like a prison. Used to be the high school, so it was an old, deteriorated building.
Just some random... That's so crazy, like a middle school is that different.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all from the same town.
They were so close to each other, too.
But yeah, that was the religious thing. Like, they just taught everybody about everything. And I think they're slowly... I think that should stay in. Because, maybe I just had a good teacher. They didn't say what they believed in. They didn't push people in one way. They're like, hey, you should know these. Not even so you should believe in one, just so you have the respect of knowing how other people feel if they want to talk about it.
Sure, right.
Which is important, too. So,
yeah. Of course, every single religion then has their own claim to getting to heaven, if you will.
Yeah, but most of them are a similar path. There are some that are way different, but most of them have the track of be a good person. Some of them have tracks of like money, all this stuff that really, if you look in the word of whatever book you're following, they don't really care about that as much. It's be a good person is the basis for most of them.
I think the Bible is the only one that God serves you in the sense of he came down saying, you guys are all lost without me, and I'm going to put my son on the cross for you. I think it's the only religion in the world that offers forgiveness in that way.
Aside from like native stuff, but yeah.
Like nature and all that.
Yeah, natives were like, nature can forgive you for use all the stuff off an animal and all that kind of stuff. Like there are ways.
I know nothing about Native American cultures.
I know I forgot. I used to know a lot. I've forgotten most of it. I did a Sporkle quiz with my roommate about native tribes, and I knew like 2. Did you know Shoshone was a native tribe?
Yeah.
You know Shoshone County? I didn't know that was a native tribe. Same with Yakima.
Most of them are over
Same
here.
with Yakima.
Yes, I knew Yakima.
I didn't know that either.
I think my roommate Damon, he's like, I think it's from the Yakima tribe.
Wow.
I know somebody from the Yakima tribe. Maybe it's not him. I've met somebody from it. That's all.
The Spanish natives really are fun to learn about, all the stuff that they were able to do and whatnot. But
the Spanish natives?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like natives from South America and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, yeah. South American natives.
Like the Inca?
Yeah, all of those.
All the cool stuff.
The ones up here are kind of just like maybe it's because we live here, but they're just the typical natives to us.
Yeah.
So like we learn about them so much. It's like, oh, that's it's really cool to hear about. But
yeah, something foreign is pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is getting so hot in here. This was
Is it
fun.
your these lights?
It's the lights, the camera, 2 bodies sweating in a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny room. All the electronics, closed window with sun on it.
It is really hot out. It's gonna be 84 tomorrow.
I'll be up at my mom's house. She has AC.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. This was fun, dude. Thank you for coming on and entertaining my curiosity.
Of course.
I hope I didn't push you too far.
I didn't answer anything. So.
Okay, sure, dude. I want to say I have a grasp of where you're at. At least I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, any closing remarks? You want to shout out anything or?
Nope.
No? No, like social media, frat, college, football team. I don't know, anything. We didn't really talk too much about sports.
Shout out my mom.
Hey!
That's about it.
Nice. Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, dog.
Of course.
I respect you a lot. I think you're awesome. Ballin'. Peace out. Cut. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. If you want to support us, you can find us on Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you join the Patreon, you'll get each episode a week early, along with some maybe blooper reels, all sorts of fun stuff that we might end up cutting out of the regular episode.
Oh, yeah.
You'll also be supporting the team, me, Dylan, and John behind the camera. It's a little skeleton crew we got going.
Links in the down under.
In the land down under.
See, that's funny because that's Australia. Yeah, you guys can find us on any of the big podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, I guess. If that was a podcast platform, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.
God bless you all.
It was good.
That was good.
I like the little shitter about the YouTube thing.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. I'm funny.
Yeah, it was good. Ow, dude. Ow.